Chapter 223 Changing Opinions about Ni Yang, Granny Mo's Birthday Banquet _2. Yes, exactly like that. Meanwhile, Li Xianxian expectantly looked at Mo Baichuan. She was wagering whether Mo Baichuan would agree with the old Mrs. Mo. If he did, it meant that he was indeed treating her differently. Sure, Granny. He agreed. Mo Baichuan had agreed to take her home. Li Xianxian's heart was beating so fast with excitement that she even forgot that there was another little angel in the Mo family. Mr. Mo, thank you, said Li Xianxian, looking at Mo Baichuan with shyness in her eyes. The expression on Mo Baichuan's face was somewhat indifferent. No problem. Old Mrs. Mo teased. Xianxian, you and Chuan have known each other for so long. Why are you still calling him Mr. Mo? That's so formal. You should just call him Baichuan. Calling Mo Baichuan by his name? Li Xianxian was overjoyed, but she managed to control her emotions. She looked cautiously at Mo Baichuan. Can I? Sure. Mo Baichuan suppressed his distaste and nodded. He wanted to show Ni Yang how good and special he was to Li Xianxian. Otherwise, he couldn't provoke Ni Yang. Li Xianxian was so thrilled she didn't know what to say. She was probably the first girl in history who could call Mo Baichuan by his name. This felt absolutely glorious. Both older Mrs. Mo and Lin Pingping had smiles in their eyes. Although Mo Baichuan didn't do anything special for Li Xianxian, anyone could tell that he was treating her differently. Normally, would Mo Baichuan allow a young girl to call him by his name? Mo Baichuan had driven here. He saw old Mrs. Mo and Lin Pingping off to the car carrying Li Xianxian. Seeing Li Xianxian get into the co-driver's seat, Mo Baichuan's face immediately darkened. She was too presumptuous. Did she think he was blind to be interested in someone like her? Suppressing the anger in his heart, Mo Baichuan leaned into the car. Granny, aunt, you go back first. I'll take care of Xianxian. Xianxian? Did she hear it wrong? Mo Baichuan actually called her Xianxian. Li Xianxian's face took on a rosy hue immediately. Mo Baichuan had kept his emotions hidden deep. Clearly, he was very fond of her. Previously, he always pretended as if he was indifferent. His current transformation had to do with the near-death incident she just went through. Because he can no longer bear the fear of loss. Although Mo Hudy wasn't eliminated, this could still be considered a blessing in disguise. That Mo Baichuan realizes he likes her, indicating that her wrist wasn't cut for nothing. With this thought, Li Xianxian felt much better, and a smile appeared on her face. The old Mrs. Mo cheerfully said, "All right, drive slowly on the road." Sure. Mo Baichuan held his patience, waved goodbye to old Mrs. Mo, and then the car slowly disappeared from their sight as he stepped on the gas. Once the car windows were closed, a deathly silence fell inside the car. Mo Baichuan silently stared at the steering wheel. His grim expression could scare anyone to death. Li Xianxian glanced at him from the corner of her eye, wanting to say something but didn't dare to. Although she knew Mo Baichuan liked her, his temperament was rather eccentric. It would be better for her to avoid provoking him as he could easily turn a cold shoulder if slighted. Their relationship was still unstable. It was best to take things slowly, one step at a time. Shortly after, they arrived at their destination. After parking the car, Mo Baichuan had no intention of getting out. What was he planning to do? Stay in the car with her and make a conversation? After realizing this is what could be happening, Li Xianxian's face quickly turned crimson. Li Xianxian bit her lip, feeling inexplicably nervous as Mo Baichuan did not speak, and she was too shy to say anything. A woman should always be reserved. Since Mo Baichuan liked her, he should be the one to initiate conversation. After what seemed like a long time, Mo Baichuan finally spoke. "Get out of the car." Although it was only 2 words, they were laced with coldness that startled Li Xianxian, and she almost fell off her seat. Get out of the car? She turned her head in surprise to look at Mo Baichuan. Why was this happening? Why would Mo Baichuan ever ask her to get out of the car? Does Mo Baichuan have no other things to say to her? Ball Baichuan. Mo Baichuan's face was expressionless, but his words were icy cold. I told you to get out of the car. Chapter 224 Changing Views on Ni Yan, Elder Mrs. Mo's Birthday Banquet _3. Li Xianxian looked at him, a bit aggrieved. Baichuan, did I do anything wrong that made you angry? I can change, can you stop being angry, okay? Mo Baichuan's face was gloomy. Get out of the car. Don't make me repeat a third time. Li Xianxian knew Mo Baichuan all too well. She knew that this was a sign that Mo Baichuan was about to lose his temper. If she didn't get out of the car now, Mo Baichuan might even resort to physical force next. She'd better get out first. It was already really nice for her to be able to ride with Mo Baichuan today. After all, who in Beijing has ever sat in Mo Baichuan's passenger's seat? Big shots always have a bit of a temper, don't they? Otherwise, how could they be called big shots? As long as she was in Mo Baichuan's heart, it was okay for her to tolerate a bit of his temper. After weighing the pros and cons, Li Xianxian got out of the car. She looked affectionately at Mo Baichuan. Baichuan, I'll go now then. Please drive carefully on the road. Slam. Before Li Xianxian could finish her sentence, Mo Baichuan had already closed the car door. With a step on the accelerator, his car vanished from Li Xianxian's sight. As Li Xianxian watched the direction where the jeep disappeared, a faint smile appeared at the corner of her mouth. Mo Baichuan, to use a trendy term, was deeply introverted but passionate. Although he was obviously very fond of her, he always acted as if he didn't care at all. Didn't he know that tormenting his wife was pleasurable in the short term, but chasing her to the crematorium in the end? Just wait and see, one day. She would have Mo Baichuan completely under her thumb. After saying goodbye to the old lady of the Mo family, Lin Pingping went to a salon. When she came out of the salon again, her once beautiful long hair was now short and neat, and the gloomy aura that used to surround her was gone. She looked completely reborn. Lin Pingping went straight to Anai Yang's noodle restaurant. At the time, Anai Yang was making milk tea. Yang Yang. Hearing someone calling her, Anai Yang looked back, almost not recognizing Lin Pingping. Aunt Pingping. It's me. Lin Pingping walked over and hugged Anai Yang. Yang Yang, thank you. You're welcome. Anai Yang hugged back Lin Pingping, then said, Aunt Pingping, please come and sit with me. The two came to the front hall and sat down by the window. Lin Pingping narrated to Anai Yang everything that happened after she returned to the Hong family. Hearing this, Anai Yang was amazed. Who could imagine that Lin Pingping, who looked so tender and weak, could be so brave and decisive? To have Hong been sentenced to life imprisonment was not something the average woman could do. Aunt Pingping. Anai Yang lifted her milk tea cup. Congratulations on getting out of the darkness of your former life. Thank you. Lin Pingping clinked cups with her. Setting down her cup, Lin Pingping then said, By the way, Yang Yang, have one more thing to tell you. Go on. Lin Pingping excitedly said, The Mo Hudy you saved before is my cousin. The old Ms. Mo is my aunt and Mo Chishan is my cousin. Hearing this, Anai Yang was surprised. Really? Absolutely. It's destiny. Yang Yang, we were meant to meet each other. I believe that in the near future, our relationship will be more than just good friends. Who knows, if Mo Chishan wins Anai Yang over, they might even become family. Anai Yang didn't think that much. She just felt that destiny was indeed a wonderful thing. The two chatted for a while longer, and then Lin Pingping grabbed Anai Yang's hand. Yang Yang, recently there have been a lot of people at our hospital wanting to buy your acne cream. Do you sell it? Anai Yang nodded. Yes, I not only sell the acne cream, but also the spot removing cream. Recently, I even developed a skin whitening product. Lin Pingping was excited. Really? Anai Yang nodded. Yes, let me get you some samples. A moment later, Anai Yang brought over a small cardboard box containing face cleanser, aloe vera gel, acne cream, spot removing cream and a recently developed skin whitening and hydrating cream. As Lin Pingping had only used the acne cream before, Anai Yang took the time to introduce the effects of the other products one by one. Lin Pingping was born into a wealthy family, and her girlfriends were also no ordinary people. So Anai Yang took special care to introduce the whitening moisturizing cream. Anai Yang had tried it herself, and the effect of this whitening moisturizing cream was excellent. Because the production process was a bit complicated, the price was also higher, 108 yuan per box. It was perfect for affluent people. In a skincare product line, There always needs to be an impressive luxury item to represent the brand. So she had developed this whitening and moisturizing cream. Chapter 225 Changing Views on Yin, Elder Mrs. Mo's Birthday Banquet _4. Take, for instance, the famous skincare brand La Mer, which is a subsidiary of Estée Lauder. Estée Lauder's prices are affordable for the average person, but La Mer could be a little out of their price range. Lin Pingping expressed her surprise. Does this skin whitening moisturizer really whiten skin? There isn't a woman who doesn't fancy fair and rosy skin. No matter whether they're white or yellow-skinned, all women hope their skin can become fairer, better. And Yang responded with a smile. You can see the results by trying the sample at home. Lin Pingping continued. Alright, I'll get 1 set of this skincare product and 8 acne creams for my colleagues. Okay. Yang packed a bag full of skincare products for Lin Pingping and added a pile of samples. Yang, how much do all these cost? Lin Pingping asked. Yang answered with a smile. Cleanser is 15 yuan, aloe gel and acne cream are 20 yuan each. The skin whitening moisturizer is a little more expensive at 108 yuan. The total comes to 303 yuan. You can pay 300 yuan. Her mental arithmetic was pretty good. It would usually take a minute or two for a regular person to calculate these prices, but Yang gave the answer immediately, without thinking. Lin Pingping was secretly surprised. She pulled out 400 yuan from her pocket and gave them to Yang. Yang gave Lin Pingping change, but Lin Pingping refused, insisting she had already taken too much advantage of Yang. She had previously spent thousands of yuan trying to treat her face, let alone 400 yuan. Yang, I'll leave first, bye. Lin Pingping ran out the door and waved at Yang. Left with no choice, Yang had to abandon the idea of giving change and waved back at Lin Pingping. Once back, Lin Pingping washed her face eagerly with the cleanser and applied the skin whitening moisturizer. As though affected by some psychological factor, just after applying the moisturizer, Lin Pingping felt her skin becoming much brighter. But the actual result would only reveal itself over time. Lin Pingping followed Yang's instructions and patted her face in front of the mirror. Ring ring. A series of urgent alarm tones woke up the person still in a deep sleep. The person groggily turned off the alarm and was jolted upright when they saw the time on the clock. It was already 12:30. They had actually slept until 12:30. It was utterly terrifying. They quickly got up, dressed, brushed their teeth, washed their face, picked up their briefcase and rushed out the door. A passing subordinate greeted him. Zhou, you look pretty good today. Only when Xiaozhou arrived at the detective agency did he realize that had actually fallen asleep last night and had overslept this morning. For someone who had been suffering from insomnia for half a month, it felt better than winning a 5 million yuan lottery. Xiaozhou, feeling refreshed, sat on the leather sofa and made himself a cup of tea. He decided to drink more sour jujube tea that night. He hadn't expected the sour jujube tea to have any effect, but after just one day, his sleep improved significantly. It turned out that Yang did have some skills. Problems that the doctors in big hospitals failed to solve were resolved by Yang with just a prescription of sour jujube tea. He would remember this favor in his heart. Yang didn't sleep well last night. She spent the entire night thinking about Li Xianxian, and then she had a dream. She dreamt of her past life, seeing a woman with a blurry face pushing her off the balcony of the 36th floor. She died on the spot. Yang couldn't forget the gruesome scene. Was it a dream, or was it reality? Moreover, she had a feeling that the woman who pushed her off the building was Li Xianxian. However, Yang still couldn't figure out why Li Xianxian would harm her. Boss, you've made a mistake. One only wanted 2 bowls of noodles. You gave me an extra one. The customer's reminder brought Yang back from her thoughts. She smiled and returned the excess bowl of noodles. I'm sorry, thank you for reminding me. I want a bowl of noodles over here. Okay. Yang quickly served the spare bowl of noodles to the customer. Here you go, that will be 3 cents. The man took out a 1 yuan note and handed it to Yang. Yang reached out to take it. Thank you, here is your change. From beginning to end, Yang didn't give him an extra glance. She did her work, served the noodles, collected the money. She neither took the initiative to talk to him, nor tried to get close to him, just like the other customers in the restaurant. Chapter 226 Changing Views on Yen, Elder Mrs. Mo's Birthday Banquet _5. Song Beiqing watched as Yang turned her back to him, peering at her with a newfound seriousness in his eyes. Perhaps, from the beginning to the end, he entirely misjudged Yang. She truly didn't care about money. She genuinely didn't wish to associate with the rich and powerful. Yet, despite being only a teenager, she possessed a maturity that many adults lacked, as if weathered by countless storms. Song Beiqing touched his chin, and a glimmer of intrigue flashed in his eyes. With swift movements, he finished his noodles and left the place. For 3 days, Song Beiqing visited the noodle restaurant every morning. To get his noodles, he even had his assistant queue for him for a considerable amount of time. In those 3 days, they didn't exchange a single word, or even a glance. Only then did Song Beiqing realize that the girl genuinely had no interest in him. Yang. Song Beiqing couldn't resist calling out to Yang's back. What is it? Yang stopped in her tracks, directing her gaze towards Song Beiqing. Song Beiqing chuckled. I thought for sure you wouldn't pay me any attention. Yang raised an eyebrow in amusement and retorted. Why would Boss Song think that? Song Beiqing continued. Well, one just upset you a few days ago. So, I was hesitant to initiate a conversation with you, fearing you might still be angry. This man sure was amusing. When he stopped with his capitalist arrogance, he proved to an intriguing personality. Before Yang could respond, Song Beiqing carried on. Perhaps due to our different upbringing, money has always been of primordial importance to me. In my eyes, money equals omnipotence. It gives me high-quality living standards, private drivers, assistants, servants, bodyguards. But one overlooked respect. No amount of money can buy respect. Therefore, Yang, I apologize for my previous inappropriate actions. It was wrong of me to measure a person's worth with money. That was an insult to your dignity. Song Beiqing was smart and adaptable. Lai wouldn't impose his errors on Yang. If he was at fault, he was at fault. And so he owed Yang an apology. Yang didn't expect Song Beiqing to say such words. She thought Song Beiqing was a thorough capitalist, but his realization of his faults was quite profound. Yang faintly smiled. So in your eyes I'm a petty person? Song Beiqing also laughed. Of course not. With those words, Song Beiqing continued. They say laughter eliminates all hatred, so Yang, can we turn over a new leaf and forget the past incidents? Without any hesitation, Yang reached out her hand towards Song Beiqing. I am Yang. Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you too. Song Beiqing courteously shook Yang's hand. By the way, don't call me Boss Song anymore. Just call me Song Beiqing. After all, the point of a name is for people to use it. Okay. Yang nodded faintly. Song Beiqing continued. Now that we are friends, may first ask you a question? Sure. After a moment of thought, Song Beiqing said, but you must promise me not to get mad after I ask this question. Rest assured, Yang smiled. I am quite reasonable. The implication was that as long as Song Beiqing's question was within bounds, she would not take offense. With some hesitation, Song Beiqing asked, Yang, do you really not like money? This question had been bothering Song Beiqing for quite some time. Does anyone in this world truly not care for money? Although he was aware that Yang would certainly frown at his question, Song Beiqing was simply too curious about her answer. Unexpectedly, Yang not only did not get angry, but also broke into a hearty chuckle. Like money? Of course one do. If one didn't, why on earth would I open this noodle restaurant? Just like you said, money provides a superior lifestyle. Everything I am doing is for a better tomorrow. There are no people in this world who do not like money. Money is essential for survival. Without money, even the most basic needs can't be met, let alone prospering in life. Yang liked money, but she wasn't a gold digger. There was no point hiding what she genuinely liked. Then why did you reject? Yang continued for him. You mean, why did I reject your exorbitant invitation? Chapter 227 Changing Views on Yen, Elder Mrs. Mo's birthday banquet _6. Song Beiqing nodded. And I Yang said, I like money, but at the same time, I only like the money I earn myself. Your sky-high solicitation to me is no different from charity, so I choose to reject it. I prefer being down to earth rather than unexpectedly rich overnight. Song Beiqing was taken aback. He didn't expect such an answer from Ni Yang. She had her own thoughts and was very frank. She was not like a typical girl. She was outstanding. After a moment, Song Beiqing continued to ask, what's the difference between windfall wealth and working hard to earn money? Just then, an old man walking his bird happened to pass by the shop. Ni Yang pointed at the bird in the cage, and then at the bird singing high in the camphor tree. It's about like the difference between these two. Song Beiqing was stunned again. Ni Yang's voice came again. I'd rather be a poor bird in the sky than a golden canary in a cage. I'd rather be a poor bird in the sky than a golden canary in a cage. A simple phrase of 14 characters, yet it contained countless life wisdoms. If he hadn't heard it with his own ears, Song Beiqing would never have believed that these words came from the mouth of a young girl. Song Beiqing had been around for a long time. Had seen too many people blinded by wealth, including young girls Ni Yang's age or even younger. These girls of tender years, willing to sell everything for a better life, refused to be a golden canary? They were just afraid they wouldn't get the chance to be one. Because Song Beiqing had seen too many people like this, he initially thought Ni Yang was one of them. He didn't expect to be wrong once. A helpless smile emerged in Song Beiqing's eyes. Ni Yang, it's an honor to know you, Song Beiqing said to Ni Yang earnestly. Ni Yang laughed lightly. I'm flattered that I've managed to impress Boss Song. Song Beiqing chuckled. You're still calling me boss? Isn't this mocking me? It's just a slip of the tongue, Ni Yang replied. I haven't gotten used to the change yet. Just then, the sound of Li Gongqing urging came from outside the door. Master, it's time. Song Beiqing looked at his wristwatch. I have something else to attend to. I'll leave first. We can talk again when we both have leisure. Okay. Ni Yang nodded. Song Beiqing pushed the door and left. Even as he sat in the back seat, a light smile still lingered on his face. Song Beiqing was genuinely happy today. He hadn't met a girl as straightforward as Ni Yang in a long time. The feeling was akin to finding a soulmate. There was no gender difference involved. Communicating with Ni Yang was a delightfully relaxed affair. She was nothing like other pretentious wealthy daughters. Instead, she exuded an unbridled spirit of freedom. This was something the females of this era lacked. Sitting back in the rear seat with his legs crossed, Song Beiqing's right index finger intermittently tapped on the car window. Seeing the contented face in the rearview mirror, Li Gongqing was utterly impressed by Ni Yang. Ni Yang was truly amazing. She had even managed to bring Master Song to submission. After resting at the base for a few days, Li Xianxian came to the Mo family to visit Old Lady Mo and Mo Hutie. Xianxian, how do you feel now? Asked Old Lady Mo with concern. Li Xianxian smiled. Granny, you don't have to worry. I'm feeling much better now. That's good, that's good. Old Lady Mo patted Li Xianxian's hand. After glancing around, Li Xianxian asked, Where's Xiaodai? Old Lady Mo replied, Xiaodai is upstairs. Li Xianxian said with a smile, Then I'll go see Xiaodai. I'll go with you. Old Lady Mo stood up and followed Li Xianxian's steps. Li Xianxian immediately supported Old Lady Mo's arm, and they headed upstairs. In the upstairs room, Mo Hutie was focused on writing something at her desk. She was so absorbed that she didn't notice Old Lady Mo and Li Xianxian's entry. Xiaodai, your sister Xianxian is here to see you. Old Lady Mo said with a smile. Mo Hutie looked up and offered a polite greeting. Hello, Sister Xianxian. Li Xianxian came over with a smile. Let your sister take a look. What is our Xiaodai writing? Mo Hutie quickly closed her notebook. Sister Xianxian, I'm writing a diary. Diaries are private and snooping into them is an intrusion. Li Xianxian gently patted Mo Hutie's head. Xiaodai, you're young and it's the time to play. When it comes to learning, you shouldn't put too much pressure on yourself. Just go with the flow. Chapter 228 Changing Views on Ni Yan. Elder Mrs. Mo's birthday banquet 7. Madame Emo also laughed. Shout-I, your sister Xian Xian is right. You are at the age to play. Don't put too much pressure on yourself. It's fine to enjoy your writing, but remember not to exhaust yourself. Emo Hughie came over, hugged Madame Mo's neck coquettishly. Grandma, I know. Li Xianxian looked at Emo Hughie and narrowed her eyes imperceptibly. Since Emo Hughie didn't die, it seemed that some plans had to be set in motion ahead of time. The Emo family was of high status, and Emo Baichuan was an important figure. If she wanted to marry into the Emo family smoothly, she still lacked a dazzling identity. With such an identity, she could stand more firmly in the Emo family in the future. Li Xianxian smiled and came over. Shout-I, would you like to go downstairs and play? Sure. Emo Hughie nodded. The three went downstairs together. Li Xianxian had brought a lot of things that little girls like to play with. So Emo Hughie sat on the floor and started playing, even forgetting about lunch. At the dining table, Li Xianxian proactively served Madame Emo. Grandma, if I remember correctly, your 75th birthday is coming up in a few days, isn't it? Madame Emo laughed. It's commendable that you remember this old woman's birthday, Xianxian. Li Xianxian said. Grandma, your birthday is always on my mind. I know you're a filial child. Li Xianxian continued. Grandma, with all the good things happening in the family recently, we should definitely celebrate your birthday in a big way. Emo Fuhai, the eldest at the table, put down his chopsticks and agreed. Xianxian is right, we haven't had any celebrations at home lately. This would be a perfect occasion to invite the older siblings back, dispel some of the recent bad luck. Li Xianxian continued. It would be perfectly timed to invite over the little lucky star that Grandma often mentions. He has been such a help to the family, we should properly thank him. Li Xianxian had wanted to meet this little lucky star for a long time now. Unfortunately, she hadn't found the right opportunity. With this birthday banquet, not only could she display her abilities in front of the Emo family, but she could also meet the legendary little lucky star. She had to see if this little lucky star was as formidable as rumored. Of course, more importantly, she wanted to assess whether the little lucky star would pose a threat to her. Anyone daring to steal her credit would have to pay back the principal along with the interest. Madame Emo laughed and nodded. Excellent, Xianxian. You've truly hit the nail on the head. Fuhai, we should sincerely thank our little lucky star. Emo Fuhai said. Let's leave this matter to 6. He can notify Yang Yang. Upon hearing about Emo Qishan, a look of disdain flashed in Li Xiangxian's eyes. As the saying goes, birds of a feather flock together. If he associates with the trashy 6th son of the Emo family, then this little lucky star is definitely not to be feared. He probably fluked into saving Emo Hughie and into curing Lin Pingping's acne. Mother, father, are you speaking ill of me again? A straight figure walked in from the outside at just the right moment. Uncle Emo 6. Li Xianxian politely greeted. Although she thoroughly despised this waste, she had to maintain her facade. She couldn't let the Emo family elders harbor any dissatisfaction towards her. Emo Qishan nodded at Li Xianxian, then sat next to Madame Emo. Emo Fuhai explained to Emo Qishan about Madame Mo's birthday feast while laughing. Emo Qishan said, Dad, there's no need for you to worry about such matters when I'm here. I've already prepared the venue. You just need to enjoy yourself every day. Emo Qishan was always good at cheering people up, and he immediately brought a lot of joy to Madame Emo and Emo Fuhai. The two elders laughed and scolded him playfully as a naughty boy. Qishan, don't be hesitant to spend money on such matters. Take this passbook. Emo Fuhai ordered the servant to bring a passbook. Seeing this, Li Xianxian's scorn was evident in her eyes. Waste is waste. Even the money for his mother's birthday celebration needs to be begged from people. Such a son was really good for nothing. Unfortunately, Madame Emo and Emo Fuhai cherished Emo Qishan so much. Old age surely does make one's vision go hawkish. Emo Qishan handed the passbook back to Emo Fuhai. Dad, you don't need to worry about money. Your son is not waste. I can assure you that I will make Mom's birthday celebration grand. Considering his son's pride, Emo Fuhai could only put away the passbook. You promise me that you'll speak up if anything goes wrong. Emo Qishan nodded. Madame Emo added. Chishin, there's another thing that needs to be done. Chishin said, no problem, Grandma. Whatever you command, even if it means climbing mountains of swords or diving into seas of flames, I will get it done. Madame Emo laughed heartily at Chishin's joke, this child always jesting. Once settled, she continued, it's about Yang. No matter what, you have to get him to attend this birthday banquet. Chishin immediately stood up and saluted in the style of a TV drama. Yes, madam. What a rascal. By the way, why didn't Shout I come to eat? Chishin asked. Madame Emo replied. When Xian came earlier, she brought a bunch of new and interesting things for Shout I. She's in the living room setting up her new toys. Every child has a playful nature. Chishin nodded and continued eating. After the meal, Chishin went to find Yang. Besides inviting him to the birthday banquet, he had to deliver some goods to him as well. A shipment of 10,000 disposable paper cups that Yang had ordered through him. Wu Darning helped Chishin tie the 10,000 disposable cups to the back seat of his bicycle. Brother Six, should I deliver these to sister-in-law by car? No need. Chishin checked whether the cups were secured tightly. I'll deliver them by bike. Wu Darning was puzzled. Chishin clearly had a luxury car at his disposal, but insisted on using this little broken bicycle. This didn't fit his image at all. Chapter 229 Chapter Stunning. _1 Chishin quickly arrived at Yang's noodle restaurant. When he got there, it was lunchtime and the restaurant was bustling with customers. Left his bicycle outside and went in. He naturally started to help Yang with serving noodles and taking orders. They didn't exchange a word. Yet their coordination was impeccable. Many regular customers had already recognized Mo. Xiaoma, you're helping at the restaurant again today? One Mo smiled and said, yes, Aunt Yin. Are you having your usual pickled vegetable noodles with a cup of milk tea today? Aunt Yin nodded happily. Exactly. Xiaoma, I'll have a bowl of noodles and a cup of milk tea too. All right. For a while, Mo's popularity was nearly on par with Yang's. Xiaoma, a middle-aged woman wearing golden earrings, said, can Auntie ask you a question? Mo replied politely, of course. The middle-aged woman continued, Xiaoma, have you settled down yet? Not yet. The middle-aged woman further inquired, has your family introduced you to any potential partners yet? Mo replied, no. The middle-aged woman smiled. How about Auntie introduces you to someone? My niece is extraordinarily beautiful. In this era, where exorbitant dowries weren't customary yet, any good-looking chap, even if he came from a poor family, won't have to worry about finding a bride. Moreover, Chishin was not only handsome but was also well-dressed and rode a bicycle. Among the common folks, he was quite a catch. Not just the middle-aged woman having her meal, many people had had their eyes on Chishin, but they hadn't found the opportunity to voice their intentions. Upon hearing the middle-aged woman's question, the others in the restaurant silently pricked up their ears. Tactfully turned her down. Thank you for your kind intentions, Auntie, but I'm already in love with someone. He's in love with someone already? Disappointment flickered through the woman's eyes, but she didn't give up. Then can you tell me the type of person you like? I know many pretty girls. Even if her niece wasn't suitable, she also had nieces from her in-laws, her own daughters. She believed that, sooner or later, she'd find someone that Mo would approve of. Mo rubbed his nose without directly replying to the woman. As he saw Yang carrying a tray of noodles from the corner of his eye, he immediately ran over to take it from her. Yang, leave this to me. You go and take Auntie's order. His actions spoke for themselves. The middle-aged woman wasn't a fool. Seeing Mo behaving this way, how could she not understand what was going on? Yang? Upon seeing Yang, the woman deflated. No matter how beautiful her daughters, nieces, or nieces from her in-laws' side were, none could compare to Yang's beauty. However, when she looked at them both, with Mo's handsome look and Yang's beauty, they were rather fitting for each other. Seeing this, the others also dropped their ideas of introducing Mo to potential brides. After a hectic morning, it was time for lunch. As always, Yang cooked 2 big pots of luxury version of pickled fish noodles. She combined 4 small tables in the restaurant into one big table and invited the construction workers from next door to join them. The luxury version of pickled fish noodles was filled with ingredients, fish, beef, and green vegetables. It was utterly satisfying with every bite. In the countryside, most men drank alcohol. So In-Yang prepared 2 bottles of liquor and 3 side dishes to go along with it. As for those who didn't drink alcohol, they could have milk tea. In-Yang brought the alcohol glasses. "Brother Emo, are you drinking?" Wang Tinyu walked in laughing. "Yang, who are you kidding? How many men don't drink?" "Exactly," somebody chimed in from the crowd. "How can you even call yourself a man if you can't drink?" The rest joined in the banter. These men had already secretly conspired to get Mo, the city lad, drunk. This was like dealing with a new son-in-law in the countryside. In the countryside, when a girl got married, her new husband's first visit to her parents' home was seen as a testing ground. The bride's relatives would invite the villagers who could hold their liquor well to join the meal and get the new son-in-law drunk. This was to show their support for the bride and ensure she wouldn't be bullied at her in-laws' house. This was their way of showing support for In-Yang and protecting her. Mo wasn't perturbed by their teasing. He helped to serve the noodles on the table, took out cigarettes from his pocket, and started distributing them to everyone. Chapter 230 Chapter Stunning 2. I appreciate the respect from all you uncles, so I will accompany you in a few drinks. Everyone took the cigarettes and had a look. Goodness. Yellow Crane Tower cigarettes. At this time, Dakiaman cigarettes were priced 5 cents per pack, unaffordable to ordinary people, hence most people smoked rolled dry tobacco. This young man, on the other hand, handed out Yellow Crane Tower cigarettes. Yellow Crane Tower retailed for 20 yuan per pack. There are a total of 20 cigarettes in a pack, which means 1 Yellow Crane Tower cigarette can buy 2 packs of Dakiaman cigarettes. Oh my, what does this young man's family do for a living? How come he's so rich? Moreover, Mo Chishan gave out cigarettes round after round, took the initiative to light them for everyone, behaving properly like a junior. In a little while, everyone was all smiles. If the difference in seniority wasn't there, everyone would have wanted to become brothers with him. In-Yang quietly praised Mo Chishan in his heart. This man's social skills were really impressive. To start with, In-Yang was worried that someone as particular as Mo Chishan would mind that Wang Tinyu and the others had just come back from the construction site and were dirty, and hence not want to talk to them. After all, Mo Chishan was a scion of a wealthy family. But now, it seemed that this concern was completely unnecessary. Though Mo Chishan was born into a wealthy family, he didn't look down on anyone. He was polite to everyone, unlike some people who flaunted their wealth, stuck up their noses, hardly seeing anyone else. At the table, Mo Chishan toasted to Wang Tinyu and the others one by one. Intending to get Mo Chishan drunk, Wang Tinyu and the others only sipped a little, while Mo Chishan drank fast during the toasting. After going around, Mo Chishan had already drunk a dozen, while Wang Tinyu and the others had only had half a glass. After drinking about 10 glasses, equaling to 5 or 6 liang of liquor, amazingly, Mo Chishan was neither flushed nor shaky, showing no signs of drunkenness. Seeing Mo Chishan not drunk, Wang Tinyu exchanged glances with the rest, stood up, and raised his glass. "Xiaoma, you just toasted to us, now it's our turn to toast to you." Mo Chishan immediately stood up. "Uncle Tinyu, you are my elder, it's against propriety for you to toast me. I should be the one standing. Please sit down." A satisfied expression emerged from the depths of Wang Tinyi's eyes. He took a seat. "All right then, I won't insist, I'll drink first." Mo Chishan also swallowed the wine in his glass. Another round, and Mo Chishan drank a dozen more, adding up to over a caddy, yet he showed no signs of drunkenness. After this round, Mo Chishan continued to offer cigarettes to everyone. "Uncles, have a smoke." Seeing Mo Chishan being so well behaved and having such good tolerance for alcohol, and since they still had work in the afternoon, everyone didn't want to give him a hard time, cheerfully accepting the cigarettes. It won't be a man's drinking party without bragging. As a young bachelor, Mo Chishan couldn't participate in such topics. Therefore, he was busy pouring drinks, handing out cigarettes, lighting them, thoroughly filling the role of a junior. The doors of the restaurant were transparent, clearly displaying the inside from the outside when a black luxury car quickly passed by. Two blonde-haired, blue-eyed people from the F country were seated in the car. The driver hit the brakes, tugged at his companion, and swallowed hard. "Morris, look quickly, who's that inside?" When Morris impatiently turned to see what was happening inside, the impatient expression on his face gradually turned to shock. "My God! Marcus! I couldn't have gone blind." The whole demeanor of Marcus froze. If they hadn't seen it with their own eyes, they would never believe what they were seeing. The two just kept staring at the scene inside the restaurant, stunned. So much so they barely moved for a while. Only after receiving a warning look did Marcus nervously step on the gas, driving the car away from the noodle restaurant. Mo Chishan slowly turned his gaze back, eating his noodles in a leisurely manner. Due to a good upbringing, his posture was especially elegant when eating. Even his every movement exuded an aristocratic ambience. The bragging at the table continued. Young quietly handed a cup of water to Mo Chishan. "Brother Mo, have some honey water. It helps with the alcohol." Mo Chishan had drunk at least over a caddy of liquor. Despite appearing no different from someone sober, Young was concerned about a delayed effect of the alcohol. Chapter 231 Chapter Stunning 3 Thank you. Mo Chishan reached out and took the cup. His slender fingertips accidentally grazed the back of Yang's hand, feeling slightly cool. In this instance, Mo Chishan suddenly thought of an exquisite ancient jade he had come across last summer while he was in F country. The sensation of touching this jade was similar. The honey water was sweet with a faint hint of lemon. A single sip managed to soothe the burning sensation in his heart. Taking advantage of the action of picking up food, Mo Chishan whispers into Yang's ear. Yang, I can hold my liquor very well. Am not drunk at all, you don't have to worry." At this very moment, Yang turned her head, her fair cheeks brushing against his lips. It was like a shock. Such an unintentional move had successfully stunned the both of them. The boasting noises coming from the table seemed to have become a vacuum. Mo Chishan picked up the cup again, nonchalantly took a sip of the honey water as if nothing had happened. His calm exterior remained, but the thin layer of sweat on his face betrayed his emotions. Just after putting down the cup, Mo Chishan gulped down another mouthful of honey water. Yet this time he couldn't suppress the burning sensation in his heart. Stealing a quick glance at Yang, he found her casually chatting with Zhou Qingshang and Wang Jinfang on the side, acting as if nothing had happened. His composure was actually less than a young girl. Mo Chishan picked up his cup again in frustration, only to find out that his honey water was all gone. Left with no choice, he put down his cup and continued with his meal. What Mo Chishan didn't know was that Yang, who appeared stable as Mount Tai, was actually panicking inside. Including all her past and present lives combined, this was the first time she had such intimate contact with a man. It felt a little strange. Soon after, everyone finished their meals and Wang Tinio led them to the nearby shop. Mo Chishan stood up, pulled out a pack of cigarettes from his pocket, and handed them around. After everyone had left, Mo Chishan finally had a chance to discuss important matters with Yang. He brought in the 10,000 disposable cups from outside the door. Yang, these are the 10,000 cups you ordered. Can you check?" Yang laughed and replied. "No need to count, Brother Mo, don't I trust you?" The two of them got along very naturally, completely forgetting the previous episode at dinner. Yang took out money from the counter to give to Mo Chishan, and he didn't refuse. He deeply understood Yang's character. She would never accept charity. If he refused the money this time, Yang would definitely not ask for his help next time. Mo Chishan took the money then said, "Yeah, Yang, I have something else to tell you." Yang nodded her head. "Go ahead, Brother Mo." Mo Chishan said, "The 8th day of next month is my mother's birthday. She wants to invite you to her birthday celebration. I don't know if you can make it." Birthday celebration. Looking at the calendar, Li Xianxian should have woken up by then. Since it was the Mo family's birthday celebration, Li Xianxian would definitely be there. Moreover, Yang always treated Mo Chishan as a friend. Mo Chishan had helped her so much, so if he personally invited her, She had no reason to refuse. Of course. Anai Yang said with a smile. Since Brother Emo has kindly invited, I'll definitely be there. Really? Emo Chishan was overjoyed. Emo Chishan, look out an invitation. Here, this is the invitation. Anai Yang took it with both hands. Thank you. Mo Chishan continued. You've worked all morning, and you still have to work in the afternoon. You should take the opportunity to rest for a while. I have to go. Anai Yang nodded, and saw Emo Chishan to the door. Just as Emo Chishan set foot on his bicycle, as if he remembered something, he looked back at Anai Yang. Yang, I may not be in Beijing for the next few days. If anything happens, you can contact Wu Darning. Then I'll pick you up here on the morning of the 8th. Okay. Anai Yang waved at him. Brother Emo, be careful on the road. We'll meet here on the morning of the 8th. After bidding goodbye to Anai Yang, Emo Chishan whistled as he pedaled his bike away. Had just turned a corner when he wobbled and almost fell off his bike. He stood at the side of the road, his right hand pinching his temple. His feet felt like they were stepping on cotton, and he felt like he could faint at any time. There was a stark contrast between his demeanor now and just a moment ago. This hangover was pretty strong. After all, he had drunk more than a kilogram. How could he not be drunk? It's also thanks to Emo Chishan's strong endurance that he held on until now. If it were anyone else, they probably would have thrown up by now. Chapter 232. Chapter Stunning. For after a while, a black car slowly drove over, parking nearby. Two young men got out of the car. One helped Emo Chishan into the car, the other loaded the bicycle into the trunk. Are you okay? Came a concerned voice from the driver's seat. I'm fine. Emo Chishan, enduring a headache, continued. First, take me back to the manor. All right, please wait a moment. The driver glanced at the man's frosty face through the rearview mirror. Couldn't help but wonder. Was this really the same man who had been toasting and offering cigarettes to the group of construction workers at the small noodle restaurant only an hour ago? Was it really the same person? The companions in the passenger seat obviously thought about the same question. They exchanged a glance, both seeing doubt in each other's eyes. Lately, Lin Pingping's skin condition was getting better and better. At a class reunion, her classmates could barely recognize her. My God! Pingping, your skin is incredible. So fair. I remember you weren't this fair before. Women in their 30s generally have the worst skin condition. Even the ladies of wealthy families cannot escape the traces of time. Among them, some had pigmented spots on their faces, some had yellowish skin, some had peeling skin. It's no wonder the term yellow-faced woman exists. Lin Pingping, sitting among them, naturally became the one who stood out in the crowd. One of the straightforward classmates said, Something's not right, Pingping. I saw you earlier this year. You had a face full of pimples. How did you suddenly become so pretty now? Lin Pingping didn't mind. She smiled and said, It might have something to do with the skincare products I've been using lately. You all know that my face had a big problem a year ago. It was only after using these skincare products that my face improved. Hearing this, everyone was shocked and asked, What brand? You should recommend it to us. Quick, tell us, I want to go buy a set too. Lin Pingping continued, It's called Icy Skin Jade Beauty, but you may not be able to find it in the market, because this skincare product was developed by a high-profile person. It's limited supply, without connections, you can't get it at all. Lin Pingping spoke in a mysterious tone, further piquing everyone's curiosity. After all, Lin Pingping's current skin condition was really good. So good that it inspired envy. Icy Skin Jade Beauty, these 4 words, were really eye-catching. Pingping, can you help us get a set? Pingping, we've been classmates for so many years. You won't refuse this favor, will you? Lin Pingping laughed and said, I can help you, but one of the products that can whiten the skin might be a bit expensive. I don't know if you can accept it. Expensive? How much is it? Lin Pingping continued, 108 yuan a box. Hearing this, everyone chuckled. That's not bad, I thought it would be very expensive. It's only 108. In the eyes of these people from wealthy families, 108 yuan was nothing at all. It was equivalent to what they would spend on a casual clothing purchase. Get me one for skin whitening. I want one too. Me too. Everyone was busy stuffing money into Lin Pingping's hands. Lin Pingping said, "Don't rush, merely applying whitening and moisturizing cream isn't useful. The effect is better when used in combination with facial cleanser and aloe vera gel. Besides, it not only whitens, but also controls acne, fades spots, moisturizes." Lin Pingping introduced Anai Yang's products one by one, speaking about them in a mysterious manner. At one point when someone questioned her, "Are these skincare products really that good? I've never heard of these brands before." "I haven't heard of them either. I heard that Lin Pingping is divorcing Hongbin lately. Could it be that she's out of money, so she's trying to cheat us?" Hearing these doubts, Lin Pingping wasn't angry, she just smiled and said, "I have some samples at home. After the reunion, why don't you come over to my place? I can give you some samples to try. If you like them, then you can buy more. We're all old classmates, I wouldn't want to get a reputation for cheating." With her saying that, those who had questioned her earlier shut their mouths, their faces flushed with embarrassment. When the reunion ended, over a dozen beauty-loving female classmates followed Lin Pingping home. Seeing that Lin Pingping was now living in the Mo family mansion, they all breathed a sigh of relief. Chapter 233 Chapter Stunning. 5. The Mo family is rich and wealthy with countless assets. They can afford as much money as they need. How could Lin Pingping possibly defraud people over such a small sum? "Pingping, we know you wouldn't deceive us. You don't have to give us sample kits. Just order a set for us directly. Hey, raise the money. You can keep it." Lin Pingping handed out a bunch of sample kits to the crowd. "Even so, I should give you some sample kits first. I don't have any ready-made skincare products at the moment. You can try using them first. After all, everyone's skin type is different. The skincare products that work for my skin may not have the same effects on your skin." The others thought that what Lin Pingping said made sense, so they did not insist, and each took some samples and left. On the morning of the third day, Lin Pingping was still in bed when a piercing phone ring woke her up. Lin Pingping picked up the telephone receiver with half-closed eyes. "Hello." A surprised voice came from the other end of the phone. "Hello. Pingping. Xiao Xiao. I used the skincare samples you gave me a few days ago. They are really amazing. Would you be able to buy a few sets for me?" Upon hearing this, Lin Pingping suddenly became more alert. But as soon as she hung up, the urgent phone ringing sounded again. This time it was also a call to order skincare products. Lin Pingping received more than a dozen calls that morning alone. Therefore, Lin Pingping decided not to sleep anymore. She got up, brushed her teeth, washed her face, and then went to work. During her lunch break, Lin Pingping went to Anai Yang's noodle restaurant and told her about the orders for the skincare products. Anai Yang smiled and said, "For now, we have ample stock of facial cleanser and aloe vera gel, as well as 2 types of acne and freckle removal creams. But the whitening moisturizing cream is limited to 30 boxes per month, and we only have 8 boxes left. For beauty, people are willing to pay any price." Under the promotion of Enai Chenggui and Wang Meifeng, the high-end whitening moisturizing cream, priced at 108 yuan a box, sold 22 boxes in just a few days. Adhering to the principle of limited edition equals high value, Anai Yang planned not to produce too much at first. She planned to produce only 30 boxes per month to keep the consumers anticipating and maintain the product's high profile, before gradually increasing production. This is a kind of hunger marketing. Lin Pingping hurriedly said, Yang, sell all the remaining 8 boxes of whitening moisturizing cream to me. Then I want 12 bottles of facial cleanser and aloe vera gel, and 13 bottles of each of the acne and freckle removal creams." To avoid missing out on any orders from her classmates, Lin Pingping even drafted a list. "Sure." Anai Yang nodded. "But I don't have any stock in hand right now. Should I bring them to you tomorrow morning?" "All right," Lin Pingping said. "I'll come and get them tomorrow morning. I want to pay you." Everything added up to a total of 46 bottles. The price of 8 boxes of whitening moisturizing cream is 864 yuan, while the remaining 38 bottles of facial cleanser and acne and freckle removal creams cost 940 yuan, totaling 1,804 yuan. Lin Pingping handed Enai Yang 1,900 yuan, and Enai Yang gave her back 200 yuan without saying much. Lin Pingping didn't think much of it. It was only after she left the restaurant that she realized that Enai Yang had given her 104 yuan extra. Lin Pingping promptly returned to the restaurant and gave Enai Yang the remaining money. Yang, you gave me too much change. Enai Yang smiled and said, I didn't make a mistake. Auntie Ping, you gave me 2 yuan extra when you bought skincare products last time. About half a month ago, Lin Pingping came to buy skincare products. The total cost was 300 yuan, but Lin Pingping gave 400 yuan. Enai Yang chased after her, but Lin Pingping just ran off. Naturally, Enai Yang wouldn't accept the extra 2 yuan from Lin Pingping for no reason. The purpose of her starting the business was not to make money. If she accepted the extra 100 yuan from Lin Pingping, it would dilute the initial purpose of her business. Lin Pingping said, Yang, that was last time. This is this time. Enai Yang gave a faint smile and spoke lightly. Auntie Ping, if you don't accept it, I might not dare to sell skincare products to you next time. With no choice, Lin Pingping had to accept the money, secretly deciding in her heart that she must help Enai Yang promote the skincare products more in the future. The influence of a good product is really great, because when a product is good, consumers will recommend it to each other. This forms a circle, and this circle will only grow bigger. As a result, the reputation of Crystal Clear will also grow. Chapter 234 Chapter Stunning _6. Recently, Enai Yang's income from selling skincare products alone had exceeded 6,000 yuan, adding the revenue from the noodles and milk tea sales. And after deducting the cost of store renovation, her savings had now exceeded 20,000 yuan. The birthday banquet of the old Madame Mo was just around the corner, so Enai Yang had been thinking about what gift to prepare for the old lady in the last few days. Mo family were indeed affluent, and items costing just a few or 100 yuan certainly wouldn't catch the old lady's attention. Yet anything too expensive was out of Enai Yang's reach. Therefore, although the birthday gift wouldn't need to be too costly, it was essential to show sincerity. She must strike out a new path for herself and grasp an opportunity. Thinking about it, Enai Yang narrowed her eyes slightly, an idea forming in her mind. The morning of the 8th. Looking neat and tidy, Mo Qishan rode his precious bicycle to the noodle restaurant to pick up Enai Yang. As he arrived, a jeep pulled up. The car window rolled down, revealing a handsome face. Uncle, are you here to pick up Enai Yang? The one who came was none other than Mo Baichuan. Mo Qishan smiled faintly. That's right. Do you have any advice, nephew? Mo Baichuan's eyes held countless scorn as he looked at Mo Qishan. Uncle, you can't seriously think that Enai Yang is interested in you, can you? Mo Qishan said nothing. His nephew seemed to have too much time on his hands lately. Mo Baichuan continued. I told you that Enai Yang has been close to you only because of me. She wants to get close to me. Otherwise, would Enai Yang be interested in a loser like Mo Qishan? What a joke. Yet Mo Qishan was a foolish romantic, really believing Enai Yang would be interested in him. Sitting on his bicycle with his long legs touching the ground, Mo Qishan pointed at his head. Nephew, did you ever get that problem in your head checked? Both his older brother and sister-in-law were not fools. How could they give birth to a son as arrogant and unconventional as Mo Baichuan? Mo Qishan was now even suspecting that his nephew was adopted. Uncle, you don't believe me? Mo Baichuan suddenly turned serious. If you don't, let's make a bet. Then you will see what kind of person Enai Yang really is. Mo Qishan's lips curled into a small smile. Mo Baichuan continued. Let's bet on whose car Enai Yang will ride in today. Mo Qishan laughed lightly. Is there a need to bet on that? Mo Baichuan frowned slightly. Uncle, don't you think you are too self-confident? Nephew, Mo Qishan looked at Mo Baichuan. I think you are ridiculous. Mo Baichuan didn't feel like arguing with Mo Qishan. Whether you're too confident or I'm ridiculous, you'll see the answer soon. Mo Qishan was still deceiving himself. Under today's circumstances, anyone could tell with their toes that Enai Yang definitely wouldn't ride Mo Qishan's bicycle. After all, today was an important day for the Mo family, and all the attendees were important figures. How could a vain woman like Ina Yang ride a small bicycle? Emo Chishan was really dumb. In a moment, a clear voice rang out in the air. Brother Emo. As Emo Chishan looked up, he saw Ina Yang dressed in a beige overcoat walking out. Her jet black, shiny hair was evenly spread out behind her, and there was a rosy hair clip on her right ear. The rosy hair clip against her fair and transparent ears was like a red plum in the snow, extremely eye-catching. The beige overcoat, buttoned up to the ankles, outlined her fine figure and slender waist. It looked as if a strong wind could break her thin waist. Yang. Emo Chishan jumped off his bicycle and walked towards Ina Yang, talking and laughing as if he didn't notice Emo Baichuan by the jeep. As Ina Yang completely ignored him, Emo Baichuan's face darkened. Was she still playing hard to get? Miss Ina. Emo Baichuan walked straight up to Ina Yang, looking down at her. To repay you for saving my life in Dam Village, I personally came to invite you to my grandmother's birthday banquet today. Wasn't this what Ina Yang wanted? She had followed him all the way from Dam Village to Beijing, just to draw his attention with the life-saving grace. He would grant her wish today. He didn't believe that Ina Yang could still play coy when he had put it all out on the table. Chapter 235. Stunning. _7 Ina Yang gave him a velvet smile and retorted, Did I save someone in Dam Village? It's clear that the only thing I saved in Dam Village was a dog with a penchant for biting people. Dear sir, don't behave like a dog. I've already made my intentions very clear. Have some self-awareness, would you? True, Ina Yang had saved Emo Baichuan. But it felt just like saving a dog. If it was a dog, at least the dog would wag its tail at her. Unlike Emo Baichuan, who simply bit her back like a maniac, sticking to her like glue no matter how much she tried to shake him off. Emo Baichuan was suddenly filled with rage. He didn't expect Ina Yang to keep playing coy even after all he had done. Was this amusing to her? Didn't she realize she was playing her part way too well? As Emo Chishan was just about to voice his thoughts, he heard Ina Yang say, Brother Emo, let's get going. We shouldn't waste our time on irrelevant people. If a dog bites you, would you bite it back? These words quite unexpectedly chimed with Emo Chishan's own thinking. Nodding, he agreed. Indeed, let's move. Emo Chishan maneuvered his bicycle, and Ina Yang took up her usual place on the back seat. Yang, hold on tight, we're setting off. Okay. Ina Yang smartly held onto Emo Chishan's waist with one hand, and her belongings with the other. As the handsome lad and pretty girl rode under the morning sun, bathed in its warm golden light, it should have been a beautiful sight. But to Emo Baichuan, it was irritatingly dazzling. That was crossing the line. Ina Yang was overreacting. He had even stooped to the level of personally driving to pick her up, but she still chose to ride off with Emo Chishan on his bicycle. Emo Baichuan initially came to declare war to Emo Chishan. He wanted to let Emo Chishan know that Ina Yang was close to him only because of Emo Baichuan. Unexpectedly, he ended up getting slapped by Emo Chishan instead. Just wait, he swore that one day, he would expose Ina Yang's true face. Emo Baichuan clenched his fists tight, his suppressed rage making the veins in his neck pop. He looked truly vicious. At that moment, he thought of another person. Li Xianxian. Since Ina Yang failed to appreciate his kindness, and insisted on playing coy, he could try winning over Li Xianxian. With a car, he could reach home long before the slow-paced bicycle. As long as he fetched Li Xianxian home before Emo Chishan, making Ina Yang witness it all, she would undoubtedly lose her cool. Jealousy could make people bare their ugliest side. Squinting his eyes, Emo Baichuan got into his car. Soon after, his car could be spotted parked under the ladies' dormitory at the base. Being a formidable figure on the base, Emo Baichuan's car parked under the ladies' dormitory drew the attention of countless female onlookers. In their faces, Emo Baichuan found the recognition he sought. Could you please go and fetch Li Xianxian from room 106 for me? Tell her I'm waiting for her downstairs. Emo Baichuan grabbed a random girl's hand and made the request. Of course. The girl's face turned a shade of shrimp red. When Li Xianxian found out that Emo Baichuan had come to fetch her himself, she felt as though she was dreaming. No, she never even dreamed that Emo Baichuan would come to fetch her one day. Now, she turned into the envy of all. Li Xianxian quickly donned a beautiful and stylish strapless dress and put on her crystal shoes before walking out. Baichuan. Let's go. Mo Baichuan barely glanced at her before turning around to get back into the car. Excited, Li Xianxian got into the passenger seat. The air conditioning in the car was very strong, so Li Xianxian didn't feel cold. All the way, Li Xianxian was stealthily observing Mo Baichuan's expression. Since Mo Baichuan always maintained the same facial expression, Li Xianxian was unable to notice any abnormalities. The car was speeding up and soon caught up with the bicycle. Later, the speed of the car maintained an appropriate distance from the bicycle. About half an hour later, the car finally stopped in front of the Mo family's villa. Don't get out of the car yet. Mo Baichuan spoke out coldly. Li Xianxian was taken aback. Mo Baichuan noticed that the bicycle was about to enter the villa. He then opened the car door and walked over to open the door for Li Xianxian. Exhibiting gentlemanly manners, he extended a hand towards Li Xianxian. Xianxian, we've arrived. Mo Baichuan's attitude was different from what it had been earlier. This was the first time he had taken the initiative to hold her hand. Li Xianxian was overjoyed, her heart as if about to jump out of her chest. Cautiously, she extended her hand, placing it on top of Mo Baichuan's hand. Her cheeks turned slightly red. Mo Baichuan hid well the disgust in his eyes and led Li Xianxian out of the car. At the right moment, Mo Qishan also arrived with An Yang. Without turning his head, Mo Baichuan led Li Xianxian into the hall. An Yang also noticed Li Xianxian immediately. It seemed her guess was correct. Li Xianxian did show up at the Mo family's house. The trip was not in vain. Looking at the backless silhouette of Li Xianxian, An Yang shivered uncontrollably. Is Li Xianxian not cold wearing such a dress during winter? Mo Qishan parked the bike and turned to look at An Yang. Yang, my brothers and sisters-in-law are all here today. Don't be nervous, just stay by my side. An Yang nodded. Okay. They entered the house. The hall was lively with people coming and going. The heating was very strong. An Yang couldn't stand the heat after walking only a few steps. Fortunately, she was wearing a plain cheongsam under her coat, so it was fine to take off the coat. After all, a proper dress is required for such banquets. And a cheongsam is also a type of formal attire. An Yang was unbuttoning her coat as they walked. She took off her coat and casually draped it over her arm. Mo Qishan extended his hand to take her coat. Yang, we have a lot of family members today. Let me keep your coat for you. All right, An Yang nodded. Thank you, Brother Mo. Mo Qishan smiled faintly. You're welcome. While Li Xianxian and Mo Baichuan were walking in front, Mo Hudi saw Li Xianxian and, contrary to her usual self, was overly warm. Her little face was smiling so brightly it almost bloomed. She opened her arms and ran over quickly. Sister Xianxian. At this time, the other guests in the room also looked in this direction, their eyes filled with admiration. Feeling everyone's gaze, Li Xianxian straightened her back. She had been preparing for quite a while for this day in order to stand out. This attire alone took 2 months to prepare. With a gentle and decent smile on her face, Li Xianxian half squatted down, opened her arms and welcomed Mo Hudi, Shaodai. However, Mo Hudi ran straight past Li Xianxian and jumped into the arms of the person behind Li Xianxian, Sister An Yang. It was only then that Li Xianxian heard clearly what Mo Hudi said. She was calling for Sister An Yang, not Sister Xianxian. What happened? Moreover, it seemed that the gazes of the others were not focused on her, but were oriented towards someone behind her. Who is behind me? Chapter 236. The truth about plotting against Mo Hudi, tormenting Li Xianxian. Why were all eyes on her? A chill of foreboding tinged Li Xianxian's mind. Her complexion paled as she slowly turned her head to look behind her. There was a figure clad in a light-colored cheongsam, stepping languidly. Her glossy raven hair half swept up, and her clear, expressive peach blossom eyes were framed with long, thick lashes casting a shadow on her eyelids. Secured on her ear was a hair clip in the shape of a red plum blossom, contrasting with her fair ear tip. It was like a red plum blooming brilliantly amidst a blanket of white snow, utterly mesmerizing. The red hair clip perfectly complemented the button of her cheongsam. projecting the elegant radiance of a figure stepped out from a painting, with no room for criticism. The cheongsam was usually a demanding piece of attire. If not worn gracefully, it could look overly rigid and dreary. However, the person before them was donning the cheongsam in a way that exemplified its timeless elegance. Usually the cheongsam enhances the wearer, but in her case, she was the one enhancing the cheongsam. Who was she? Why did she seem so familiar? Li Xianxian squinted her eyes, momentarily unable to recall the identity of the figure. But the sense of impending danger was steadily growing stronger within her. Sister Anai, I've been waiting for you for so long. Emo Hudi embraced Anai, unwilling to let go. Sister Anai. Upon hearing this long-lost address, Li Xianxian started to regain her composure. It was her. She had come back. She indeed had returned. Insolent woman. Hadn't she already married that castrated old man? Why had she returned? Li Xianxian's hand clenched tight, the sharpened nails digging into her flesh due to excessive force. No. She couldn't be defeated by this shameless woman. She must remain calm. She had to win over everyone. No one will take Emo Baichuan from her. Luckily everyone's attention was focused on Anai, so no one paid attention to her. Li Xianxian stood up gracefully, maintaining a polished smile on her face. Yang is here. The old lady of the Emo family and Emo Fuhai warmly welcomed her. They introduced Anai to the rest of the family. My first 4 sons. Let me introduce you to Anai, the divine doctor who healed Xiaodai. Yang is the lucky star of our Emo family. Not only did she heal Xiaodai, but she also saved Pingping. I rely exclusively on the breakfast she prepares whenever my appetite dwindles. Not everyone could bear being addressed as the lucky star by the matriarch of the Emo family. Upon hearing her words, everyone's gaze shifted towards Anai. Li Xianxian's mind was thrown into chaos. She had considered many possibilities, but she had never anticipated that Anai would be the lucky star, revered by the old matriarch. Why was it Anai? What had transpired during the period when she was unconscious? Miss Anai am Emo Rongping, the eldest son of the Emo family. I am Emo Ronggan, the second son. Am Emo Rongjong, the fourth son. I am Emo Ronghua, the fifth son. The matriarch of the Emo family got married when she was 18 years old. The eldest son, Emo Rongping, was 56 years old. And even the youngest, the fifth son, was 49. Only their youngest brother, Emo Qishan, was quite young. He was only a year older than his eldest grandson, Emo Baichuan, and was now 27. In fact, it was also apparent from the names themselves that Emo Qishan was an unexpected child. While the names of the first 4 sons represented peace, prosperity, and patriotism, his name signified uniqueness and profoundness. Before these people, Anai was merely a 17-year-old child. Yet, she exuded a composed, polite demeanor. The old lady pointed to her sons and said, Yang, just call them eldest brother, second brother, fourth brother, and fifth brother. Eldest brother, second brother, fourth brother, fifth brother? What was the matriarch trying to imply? Li Xianxian almost bit through her lip. She'd been meticulously planning for 2 whole years before she earned the trust of the matriarch and patriarch of the Emo family. Had Anai only known them for a few days? How could they trust Anai so easily? This was unfair. This was unfair to her. Why was this insolent woman always after what she desired? It was the same in her previous life. And it was the same in this life. Li Xianxian's lowered eyes were filled with venomous indignation. Emo Baichuan also found the matriarch's behavior rather befuddling. If Anai was to address his uncles as brothers, wouldn't she become his senior? How could that make sense? Anai was initially worried about how to address them. After all, she addressed Emo Qishan as Brother Emo. It would be strange for her to call his elder brothers as uncles. On the other hand, addressing them as brothers would accentuate their age difference. Chapter 237. The Truth About Plotting Against Emo Hudi, Torturing Li Xianxian _2. Now that the old lady Emo has said so, Anai didn't put on airs, and directly greeted. Hello elder brother, second brother, fourth brother, fifth brother. Anai Yang's good looks, her sensible behavior, and her kindness towards the Emo family made all of the Mo family's sons quite willing to accept her as their sister. Old Lady Mo then pulled Yang to Li Xiangxian's side and introduced, Xianxian, this is the lucky charm I've told you about before. Yang, this is Li Xianxian. She is 3 years older than you and usually stays with Chuan, serving as his capable assistant. Yang gave a small smile, reaching out to shake Li Xiangxian's hand. Hello, Sister Xianxian. Her smile was light and pure, as if a neighboring sister with affable charm, inevitably causing one to drop all guards and defenses. However, Li Xianxian couldn't relax at all. Sister Xianxian? Yang was actually calling her Sister Xianxian? What was she trying to do? In her past life, Yang was indifferent to her, even going as far as ignoring gifts and attempts to curry favor with her. In this life, would she really be so well-intentioned? But then again, Yang in this life is only 17 years old. 17 years old, still a green young girl. What could such a young girl understand? Even if Yang accidentally climbed the ranks of the Mo family, she had ways to bring her down from her pedestal. Could a young girl outsmart her? Holding on to this thought, Li Xianxian was greatly relieved and shook Yang's hand. Hello, Yang. Grandma often mentions you. Now that I've met you in person, you truly live up to your reputation. Yang accepted Li Xiangxian's praise without a word. Thank you, Sister Xianxian. Li Xiangxian's eyes narrowed. She felt something off about the Yang before her eyes. At this time, Yang should have just fled from the countryside, still maintaining her unsophisticated naivete, overwhelmed when faced with her sophisticated grace, and feeling extreme shame and inferiority. But what about Yang? Yang didn't show the slightest bit of inferiority, but was radiant and generous. Sister Yang, would you like me to show you my room? Mo Hudi approached, taking Yang's hand. Sure. Yang patted Mo Hudi's head and followed her up the stairs. Watching their figures disappear, a glint of ominous light flashed in Li Xiangxian's eyes. This Mo Hudi truly ungrateful. She treated her so well, always bringing toys for her whenever she visited the Mo family, always trying to make her happy. But Mo Hudi? She wasn't the least bit grateful, even embarrassing her in public. Inviting Yang to tour her room, without inviting her. An absolute ingrate. She deserved to lose her parents, becoming an orphan. Yang went upstairs with Mo Hudi, meeting Mo Qishan on their way, who was coming down the spiral staircase. Yang, where are you two going? Mo Qishan had his hands in his pockets, smiling at the duo. Hudi wants to show me her room. Yang replied. Uncle, would you like to come with us? Mo Hudi caught hold of Mo Qishan's hand with her other one. Sure. Mo Qishan nodded. The trio then headed for Mo Hudi's room. Witnessing the scene atop the spiral staircase, Li Xiangxian's face was full of scorn. She was initially worried about whether Yang had also returned from the past, like her. It seems that she was overthinking it. If Yang had also returned from the past, she would not have walked away with a waist like Mo Qishan. Mo Hudi's room was over 50 square meters, and was exquisitely decorated with imported stuffed toys from overseas scattered all over. Next to the window, there was a desk with an open notebook on it. The notebook was filled with scribbles, beside which lay an extravagant Picasso pen. Sister Yang, these are my writings. Mo Hudi gave the notebook on the desk to Yang. Had Li Xianxian been there, she would have died of anger on the spot. A few days ago, she too had wanted to look at the contents of this notebook, but was denied by Mo Hudi. Moreover, Mo Hudi had told her that it was a diary and hence, not to be seen by outsiders. When Yang opened the first page of the notebook, she was shocked. It wasn't just the beautiful handwriting that shocked her, but mainly, the name written in the column. Chapter 238 The Truth About Planning to Harm Mo Hudi, Tormenting Li Xianxian _3. The butterfly flies. If her memory serves her correctly, in the future, there is a very famous contemporary author named the Butterfly Flies. Her writing is highly revered by many, becoming a marvel in the modern literary world. Yang had also read her works. Is Mo Hudi that same Butterfly Flies? Mo Hudi introduced herself. Sister Yang, Butterfly Flies is my pseudonym. What do you think of the name? Does flies means liberating flight? Nayang asked. That's correct. Mo Hudi nodded, smiling brightly. Sister Nayang, you're really sharp. It does indeed mean the leisurely flight. The previously bedridden Mo Hudi longed to live like a normal child, which had influenced her choice of pseudonym. She hoped she could become a true butterfly one day. Nayang flipped a few more pages in the notebook, her face getting more shocked as she read on. Clearly, Mo Hudi and the future butterfly flies were one and the same, because this notebook was full of famous quotes from the butterfly flies. Mo Hudi was currently 12 years old, and based on time calculation, she should rise to fame about 15 years from now, when she would be in her 20s. But Nayang had read Butterfly Fly's autobiography. If she remembered correctly, Butterfly Flies rose to fame around her 30s. Something was off. It did not match up with Mo Hudi's current age. Xiaodai, have you ever thought about publishing your own book? Nayang turned to look at Mo Hudi. Publish a book? Mo Hudi blinked. No. She was just bored and wrote these things to pass the time. She had never even contemplated publishing them. Nayang went on. Xiaodai, your literary talent far surpasses the average person. Actually, you could consider pursuing a career in publishing. Who would believe these life-inspiring sentences were penned by a mere 12-year-old girl? Seeing Nayang's reaction, Mo Qishan took the notebook from Nayang. But Mo Hudi pressed his hand. Uncle, this is a secret between Sister Nayang and me. You're a boy. You're not allowed to see. Mo Qishan chuckled and pinched her face. You let Sister Nayang read this, but not me? Xiaodai, isn't that showing favoritism? This will make me sad. Mo Hudi hesitated, then finally relented. Fine, I'll let you have a look. Mo Qishan took the notebook and quickly skimmed through a few pages, his expression gradually turning serious. For such a long time, he had no idea his niece possessed such talent. Just then, a young friend came to play with Mo Hudi. Nayang saw the opportunity and pulled Mo Qishan outside. Brother Mo, I have a question to ask you. Mo Qishan followed Nayang outside, smiling. Speak. I will try my best to answer. Brother Mo. Nayang looked up at Mo Qishan. Can I ask, why did Li Xianxian commit suicide last time? Nayang's intuition told her that the reason Li Xianxian committed suicide was absolutely intertwined with Mo Hudi. Mo Qishan had no inclination to conceal anything from Nayang. So he went on to explain everything about the Jiangnan divine doctor and Mo Hudi's parents to Nayang. Hearing this, Nayang slightly furrowed her eyebrows. This incident might look like a premeditated revenge act by the Jiangnan divine doctor, but in reality, it's not that simple. The incident was years ago, and the Mo family had relocated to Beijing. So, how did the Jiangnan divine doctor find out Mo Hudi was a descendant of the Mo family? How did Li Xianxian get to know the Jiangnan divine doctor? Perhaps, nobody else knew about the grudge between Jiangnan divine doctor and the Mo family, but Li Xianxian was different. She had reincarnated and come back to life. She knew about things others wouldn't. Therefore, the person who intended to murder Mo Hudi was not anyone else, but it was Li Xianxian. Li Xianxian was very shrewd. This ploy of using another's hand to strike was extremely ingenious. Given the long-standing enmity between the Jiangnan divine doctor and the Mo family, his motive for killing Mo Hudi was clear. Who would suspect Li Xianxian? Li Xianxian didn't only manage to perfectly wash her hands clean of all crimes, but also committed suicide to earn the full sympathy of the Mo family. This was truly a triple victory. However, what Li Xianxian did not foresee was that Mo Hudi didn't die in the end. Since Mo Hudi did not die, all of Li Xianxian's plans must be sped up. Considering this, a glint of light flashed in Nayang's eyes. Yang, have you noticed something? Mo Qishan detected something odd about Nayang. Chapter 239. The truth about plotting against Mo Hudi, tormenting Li Xianxian _4. Nayang slightly raised her eyes. No big deal. By the way, Brother Mo, I think Xiaodai really has the potential. You can hire a tutor to guide her. I believe she will achieve great things in the future. Mo Qishan nodded approvingly. I also think Xiaodai is pretty smart. Nayang continued. Brother Mo, I have a suggestion for you. Go ahead, Yang. and I Yang said quietly, "Hey Race, what I recommend. Let's keep this a secret for now. Once Xiaodai's book is finally published, we can surprise everyone." "Sure, I'll follow your advice." Mo Qishan had no objections about this matter. He firmly believed that everything I Yang said was right. The two of them chatted while walking downstairs. The Mo family was a prominent family in Beijing, so there were many people who came to wish Grandma Mo a happy birthday today. In no time, the ground floor lobby was crowded with people. As the host, Mo Qishan was immediately approached by a servant as soon as he got downstairs, who wanted to discuss the details of the birthday banquet with him. I Yang smiled. "Go on, Brother Mo, I can manage on my own." Mo Qishan hesitated for a moment, then said, "I shall return shortly." "Okay." I Yang nodded. I Yang was a beauty who had drawn the attention of countless admirers. However, she exuded innate nobility, and given this was the Mo family's turf, not many people dared to offend her. I Yang sat on the sofa, eating delicate pastries, and listening to the conversation among the rich wives and daughters of the wealthy families. Who was wearing a stunning diamond ring? Who was dressed in this year's trendiest fashion? When it came to trendy dresses, the rich wives and daughters all turned their eyes towards Li Xianxian in the middle of the hall. To be precise, they were focused on the dress Li Xianxian was wearing. Li Xianxian was wearing a stunning one-shoulder dress today. Designed in a gradient of blue and white colors, a layer of transparent organza was additionally adorning the dress, making the patterns on the skirt somewhat visible, yet somewhat hidden. With every step she took, the organza ebbed and flowed, as if she was strolling in the clouds. It was elegantly enchanting, capturing all the attention. It far surpassed any traditional evening gown within the country. On top of that, Li Xiangxian's makeup was entirely appropriate. It was neither thick nor theatrical, just right. Along with the beautiful dress, it was definitely the most dazzling existence. Mo Rongping and Xiao Jiao were watching Li Xianxian from a distance, their faces displaying their satisfaction. This kid isn't bad, she can definitely hold her own in such an environment. She made a matchless pair with Baichuan. A daughter of a prosperous family approached Li Xianxian, looking at her with envy. "Xianxian, this dress of yours is stunning. Where did you get it?" Li Xianxian answered gently, "Thank you, Miss Zhao. I made this dress myself." She made it herself? Upon hearing this, the other rich wives and heiresses were taken aback. This Li Xianxian is too incredible. She was able to make such a beautiful dress. "Sister Xianxian, you're so incredibly talented. Could you teach me when you have some spare time?" A young girl wearing a qipao joined them, pulling Li Xiangxian's arm with a brilliant smile, her beautiful eyes shining, and a dimple appearing charmingly on her cheek. Li Xianxian, who everyone previously thought was dazzling, was totally lost in the background the moment this girl appeared. This was like a bright star suddenly losing its shine. And the young lady in the qipao next to Li Xianxian was like an irresistibly brilliant moon. Without comparison, everyone thought traditional Chinese gowns were a bit old-fashioned. But now Western-style gowns seemed bland compared to the qipao, which proudly showcased an unparalleled national beauty. In front of the grandiose qipao, even the slightest shadow of a Western gown was instantly lost. This is what we call heritage. How could Western culture ever compare to the heritage passed down through 5,000 years of Chinese civilization? Watching the spotlight being completely taken over by Yang, Li Xianxian was grinding her teeth in anger, but she still managed to keep her polite smile. "Yang, do I look like a stingy person to you? Of course I would teach you if you really want to learn." Yang smiled lightly, her gaze turning towards the hem of Li Xiangxian's dress, then said, "Sister Xianxian, are these flowers on the hem of your dress also hand-embroidered by you?" Chapter 240 The Truth About Plotting Against Mo Hudy, Tormenting Li Xianxian _5. Li Xianxian would naturally not miss this opportunity to show off. In today's society, old customs are gradually being forgotten, and there aren't many people who can embroider. Yes, this skirt, from design to production, is all done by me. The flowers are not well embroidered. I'm afraid it might look funny to you. Murmurs of astonishment followed by hearing her words. They all praised Li Xianxian for being so talented. Shaw. This Li Xianxian really dares to say anything. An Yang subtly raised an eyebrow. The skirt worn by Li Xianxian was one that An Yang had seen at a Paris fashion show in her past life. A creation by the famous designer LP named Blue Dream. Taking advantage of her rebirth, Li Xianxian had claimed someone else's work as her own. This kind of theft was really disgusting. An Yang kept her composure and had started by praising Li Xianxian enthusiastically. With the addition of everyone else's compliments and fawning, Li Xianxian was on cloud 9. The next second, An Yang shifted her tone, adding, "I've heard that the song and bien embroidery styles are very similar, but there are also many differences, which non-professionals would not be able to identify. May I ask, Sister Xianxian, is the embroidery on this skirt done in the bien or song style?" Song embroidery? Bien embroidery? Li Xianxian is not a seamstress. How could she know this? The skirt was indeed her design, but the one who made it was not her. Damn it, now she had landed herself in a hot soup. However, Li Xianxian quickly regained her composure. After all, everyone present were high society ladies who were not familiar with the intricacies of embroidery. Thinking of this, Li Xianxian was significantly relieved. She laughed and said, "It's done in the song style." An Yang looked at Li Xianxian with an expression of adoration, excitedly saying, "Sister Xianxian, I admire you so much. You even know how to do the complex song embroidery." Li Xianxian patted An Yang's hand and humbly said, "With deep practice, even an iron rod could be ground into a needle. It's nothing special." Virtuous, talented and modest. Everyone looked at Li Xianxian with admiration. Nonsense. If you don't understand embroidery, don't pretend to be skilled and mislead others. That is clearly Suzhou embroidery. Suddenly, an aged voice with a stern tone rang through the room. Everyone looked towards the speaker and found it to be Old Lady Zheng. The always amiable Old Lady Zheng now looked as stern as a changed person, glaring at Li Xianxian. Old Lady Zheng, raising her walking stick, slowly walked towards Li Xianxian, pointedly saying, "Young people should remain grounded." Old Lady Zheng is native to Sioux City. Her family had been silk dealers for generations, once specifically providing embroidery for the imperial court. Her family still preserved a plaque written by Emperor Qianlong himself. Thus her words carried extraordinary weight. If this skirt was really made by Li Xianxian herself, would she not even know the type of embroidery used? Old Lady Zheng deeply valued embroidery and detested young people who, under the guise of understanding embroidery, misled others with pretentious bragging. Today Li Xianxian truly touched a raw nerve. Upon hearing this, Li Xianxian turned pale. The other's gaze also changed. From initial shock and admiration, it turned to ridicule and disdain. These looks were like knives, revealing the most rotten part of Li Xianxian's inner self. Li Xianxian's back was now covered with layers of cold sweat. At this point, she wished she could just burrow into the ground. The torment of being skinned alive through people's gaze was really unbearable. It was all An Yang's fault. This damnable girl set a trap and she fell right in. After 1,000 calculations, Li Xianxian never expected Old Lady Zheng to be in the crowd. This meddlesome old hag. When Mo Rongping and his wife saw the scene, their satisfied expressions vanished in an instant. His wife Xiao Jiao shook her head saying, "This girl is not good, she is too pretentious. She is not suitable for our Chuan. Mo Rongping nodded. "I also think that our mother was mistaken this time. Where was this girl worthy of being the daughter-in-law of the Mo family?" After lecturing Li Xianxian, Old Lady Zheng noticed An Yang. Her expression immediately softened again. Holding An Yang's hands, she said, "Good child, you're here too." Every time she saw this child, Old Lady Zheng felt an inexplicable sense of familiarity. "Old Lady Zheng." An Yang courteously responded. Chapter 241 The Truth About Plotting Against Mo Hudy. Tormenting Li Xianxian _6. Madame Zheng smiled and replied, "My dear child, don't call me old lady. Just call me grandma. Our Xianjing is about the same age as you." An Yang, ever the sweet talker, immediately addressed her as grandma. Seeing Madame Zheng's response, Li Xianxian became even more frustrated. Why did everyone seem to favor An Yang? Was she predestined to be a stepping stone for An Yang? And Yang deserved to die. Madame Zheng deserved to die. The whole lot of them deserved to die. Xianxian. Just then, a hand gripped Li Xiangxian's wrist. Li Xianxian looked up and saw Baichuan, shining brilliantly. Baichuan, she sighed as she tightened her grip on his hand. She still had Baichuan. As long as she held a place in Baichuan's heart, she hadn't lost. Come with me. I'm going to introduce you to my parents, Baichuan said, leading Li Xianxian away. Baichuan did this on purpose. He deliberately walked away with Li Xianxian in front of Yang, hoping to provoke Yang's jealousy. In Baichuan's view, the only reason Yang had embarrassed Li Xianxian in public was because of him. Why else would Yang have provoked Li Xianxian for no reason? What Baichuan didn't expect, however, was that Yang would not cast him even a single glance. Is she still playing? Baichuan's eyes dimmed, and without realizing it, his grip tightened. Air! Li Xianxian gasped involuntarily, hurt by his strong grasp. Was Baichuan gripping her wrist so tightly because he was afraid of losing her? Yes, it must be so. With this comforting thought in mind, Li Xianxian glanced coyly at Baichuan, her eyes full of playfulness. Knowing that she was about to meet her future parents-in-law, Li Xiangxian's heart raced with excitement. Mom, Dad, this is Xianxian. Baichuan introduced Li Xianxian to Mo Rongping and Xiaojiao. But Mo Rongping and Xiaojiao's attitude wasn't as enthusiastic as Li Xianxian had expected. They merely nodded politely, then quickly excused themselves. They didn't even initiate a conversation with Li Xianxian. What was going on? Li Xianxian, who had managed to stay calm, instantly paled. She couldn't shake the feeling that Baichuan's parents didn't seem to like her. But she was the chosen future daughter-in-law of the Mo family. Baichuan's gaze unwittingly swept over Yang. Seeing Yang walking over in high spirits, chatting and laughing with Madame Zheng, he lowered his head to Li Xianxian and said, "You shouldn't care too much about my parents' attitudes. They're just like that." Comforted by Baichuan's words, Li Xianxian felt at ease. She gave a soft nod and said, "I understand." The sight of Baichuan walking hand in hand with Li Xianxian aroused envy in many of prominent families' daughters. Baichuan, the most eligible bachelor in the Mo family. Baichuan was near perfect, his only flaw being his taste in women. How could he fancy someone like Li Xianxian who was so vain and pretentious? Despite parading Li Xianxian all over the hall, Baichuan failed to attract a single glance from Yang. As 10 minutes ticked by, he felt increasingly frustrated. He loosened his tie, let go of Li Xiangxian's hand, and made his way to the upstairs study citing some work-related reason. Li Xianxian, always understanding, followed suit. "Baichuan, let me accompany you. Perhaps I can be of some help." Without turning back, Baichuan said, "No need. I can handle it myself." Disappointed, Li Xianxian halted, standing there, gazing at Baichuan's receding figure in a daze. Zheng Xianjing, naturally in attendance at such an important banquet, wasn't by Madame Zheng's side. She was off looking for Mo Qishan. She would never pass up an opportunity for some time alone with Mo Qishan. Her perseverance paid off, eventually leading her to Mo Qishan at the back of the Mo residence. "Uncle Mo," Zheng Xianjing greeted, rushing towards him with a smile. Mo Qishan subtly stepped back to maintain some distance from Zheng Xianjing. Do you need something? "Uncle Mo, what are you so busy with? Is there anything I can help you with?" Zheng Xianjing continued asking. "No need." Mo Qishan abruptly began walking back to the main hall. "Uncle Mo," Zheng Xianjing hurried forward to keep pace with him. "Don't walk so fast, I can hardly keep up with you." Mo Qishan turned back irritably and retorted, "Why are you being such a pesky fly? Can't you back off a bit?" If Yang noticed this, he'd be in mortal trouble. Even the Yellow River would not be enough to cleanse him. With a pitiful face, Zheng Xianjing sighed, her eyes beginning to well up. "Uncle Mo, what don't you like about me? I can change." Chapter 242 The Truth About Plotting Against Mo Hudi. Torturing Li Xianxian _7 Mo Qishan gave her an up-and-down look. "I'm just a worthless reject who's had his engagement broken off, Miss Zheng. You'd better not waste your time on me." "No, you're not worthless," Zheng Xianjing declared firmly. "Even if the whole world looks down on you, I want Uncle Mo, in my heart, you're just like a hero. Only someone as blind as Zhao Jingrong would consider Mo Qixin worthless. Just wait. Soon there will be a day of regret for Zhao Jingrong. At that point, she will be envied by everyone. With this in mind, a light quickly flashed in Zhang Xianjing's eyes. Hero. Mo Qixin sneered with a curl of his lip. May I ask what heroic deed I've accomplished to move you? To make you so sure that I'm not worthless? Mo Qixin, to the outside world, is a complete loss. No education. No respectable job. Every day he just idles about, waiting for death. He is avoided by the spoilt rich girls in their circle. Zhang Xianjing knows nothing about Mo Qixin, yet firmly believes that he isn't worthless. These words are just too hypocritical. Zhang Xianjing is so set on him. She must have seen something that she's not supposed to see. In Mo Qixin's heart, Zhang Xianjing and Zhao Jingrong who climbs and steps on people are no different, both carrying a mask of vanity that is just nauseating. Mo Qixin narrowed his eyes inconspicuously. Zhang Xianjing continued. Uncle Mo, I know you're not worthless. One day, you will rise to great heights. Stay away from me, Mo Qixin said coldly with a disgusted look in his eyes. You're just making me feel nauseous. Upon finishing his statement, Mo Qixin turned and walked away abruptly. Zhang Xianjing was left stunned. The development of events seemed a bit off. She believed in Mo Qixin so much, he should be very touched. At this time, apart from her, there was no one else who would believe in Mo Qixin. No way. She can't admit defeat so easily. She must hold on to Mo Qixin tightly and get him to stay by her side. Zhang Xianjing turned and followed Mo Qixin out the door. As soon as she reached the lobby, she saw a very disturbing scene. There she saw Yang, the little wench, affectionately addressing Madame Zhang as Grandma. Madame Zhang was beside herself with joy. Zhang Xianjing knew Madame Zhang all too well. She knew Madame Zhang's smile was genuinely happy. This damn old lady. Does she even know who her real granddaughter is? Yang, that little wench, was absolutely shameless too, daring to call Madame Zhang Grandma. Who did she think she was? Zhang Xianjing swallowed her anger and walked over to Madame Zhang with a smile. Grandma, young divine doctor. Xianjing is here. Madame Zhang warmly took Zhang Xianjing's hand. Just look, I just acknowledged a younger sister for you. Don't call me divine doctor anymore, it's too formal, just call her sister, it's much better. Madame Zhang genuinely liked Yang, otherwise, she wouldn't have said so. Damn old woman. Zhang Xianjing cursed Madame Zhang in her heart 1,000 times over, but her voice was still soft when she said, Hello, sister. One should never hit a smiling face. Although Yang knew Zhang Xianjing didn't like her, she still greeted her with a smile, Sister Xianjing. Zhang Xianjing didn't want Madame Zhang and Yang to be alone together. Her intuition told her that if these two were left alone for a long time, something bad was bound to happen. Grandma, it's too stuffy in here. Let me take you out for a walk. Yang, you come too. Madame Zhang pulled Yang along. Since Zhang Xianjing didn't like Yang wasn't going to make herself uncomfortable either. She wasn't a masochist. Grandma, you go with Sister Xianjing. I'm going to find Brother Mo. Brother Mo? Zhang Xianjing narrowed her eyes subtly. Was Yang's brother Mo referring to Mo Qixin or Mo Baichuan? It should be Mo Baichuan, right? A social climber like Yang would surely not see Mo Qixin as worth her time. Thinking about this settled Zhang Xianjing's heart somewhat, and she took Madame Zhang out the door. Yang elegantly walked towards the right side of the lobby. Here, Yang had to admit to Li Xianxian's superior socializing skills. Li Xianxian, who was initially disliked by everyone, was now surrounded like a star among a crowd of rich young ladies. Miss Li, you really have a way to buy the limited edition Ice Skin Jade Whitening Moisturizer? Li Xianxian nodded, her tone gentle. Yes, really. Why would I deceive everyone? Miss Li, could you help me get one? I haven't been able to buy a second one since I bought the first. I want one too. Me too. Li Xianxian raised her hand. Don't worry, one at a time. I have some connections with the boss of Ice Skin Jade One believe he will do me a favor. The brand Ice Skin Jade had already gained popularity in the upper social circles, especially the whitening moisturizer, which was highly sought after by this group of people. because the effects were just too good. And almost as soon as it was produced, it was bought out immediately. Honestly, owning a bottle of whitening moisturizer was a sign of status in this circle. N.I. Yang's moisturizer for the next month had already been ordered by a mysterious buyer. Looking at Li Xiangxian's confident look now, this mysterious buyer was probably her. Seeing Xiangxian's confident look, N.I. Yang lightly curled her lips. An opportunity to make money was in sight. Chapter 243. Zheng Xianjing, who was almost angry to death, made a fortune. _1 She not only wants to make money, but she also wants to earn a hefty sum. N.I. Yang looked at Li Xianxian standing amidst the crowd, and suddenly had an idea. She beckoned Mo Hudy, who was playing hide-and-seek with her friends not far away. "Xiaodai, come here." Mo Hudy immediately ran over. "Sister N.I. Yang." N.I. Yang squatted down and whispered something into Mo Hudy's ear. After hearing N.I. Yang's words clearly, Mo Hudy nodded her head and thumped her chest. "Okay, Sister N.I. Yang, I promise to complete the mission." N.I. Yang patted the top of Mo Hudy's little head. Mo Hudy ran back to the original spot and continued playing hide-and-seek with her friends. Li Xianxian was talking with a group of the rich ladies about skincare products when she suddenly heard someone shouting, "Sun Dalian! Sun Dalian!" If a person has been called a particular name for a long time, they would unconsciously respond to that name out of habit. An excellent example of this was Li Xianxian. Upon hearing these 3 words, her first reaction was to turn around and respond, "What?" At her words, all the rich ladies around her froze. If they did not mishear, the name that was just shouted seemed to be Sun Dalian. What was the relationship between Sun Dalian and Li Xianxian? At this moment, before Li Xianxian could realize anything was wrong, Mo Hudy walked towards her step by step, speaking puzzledly. "Sister Xianxian, I was calling Sun Dalian. Could it be your name is Sun Dalian too?" At her words, the color drained from Li Xiangxian's face. Unpleasant memories from her past instantly flooded her mind. No, she was not Sun Dalian. She was Li Xianxian. How did Mo Hudy know about the name Sun Dalian? What on earth was going on? No, she must not let anyone know about her past. Li Xianxian forced herself to calm down and laughed. Perhaps Sister Xianxian misheard. Mo Hudy nodded with an appearance of understanding yet not quite understanding. "I thought that Sun Dalian was Sister Xiangxian's nickname." "No, it's not." Li Xiangxian's expression looked slightly rigid. At this moment a child ran over. "Xiaodai, Xiaodai, were you calling for me just now?" Mo Hudy no longer paid attention to Li Xianxian as she left with the child. "Yes, let's go continue playing." Watching Mo Hudy's departing figure, Li Xianxian felt cold sweat pouring down her back. Fortunately, it was just a misunderstanding. N.I. Yang stood aside with a faint smile in her eyes. She guessed right. Li Xianxian was indeed Sun Dalian, and Sun Dalian was indeed Li Xianxian. The reason why Li Xianxian was desperately trying to hide her past was because there must be something from her past that she didn't want anybody to see. Things were starting to get interesting. The smile in N.I. Yang's eyes grew stronger, and a slight dimple appeared at the corner of her mouth. It was as if that slight dimple could swallow people up. A tall figure stood by the carved balustrade on the 3rd floor above. He leaned over the balustrade, his gaze lost in the crowd below. To be exact, his gaze was fixed on N.I. Yang. N.I. Yang. What sort of person was she? Mo Baichuan, who had always looked down on women, was for the first time unable to read a woman. She was obviously trying to get close to him, to attract his attention, but whenever he tried to approach her, she kept him at a distance. What was she trying to do? If she truly wasn't interested in him, why was she going to such lengths to trouble Li Xianxian? Claiming not to be interested while she was deliberately making life difficult for Li Xianxian, it was so hypocritical. Mo Baichuan narrowed his eyes. The atmosphere downstairs was getting more bustling, and the number of guests was steadily increasing. From the corner of her eye, Li Xianxian saw a regal, well-shaped figure walking in from outside. A glint flashed in her eyes as she quickly approached him. "Mr. Song." That's right, it was Song Beicheng. As the only grandson of the Mo family, and the heir to the immense Song family business, Li Xianxian needs Song Beicheng's support to secure her position in the Mo family. To survive in the Mo family, she must find a reliable backing. She needs to make Song Beiqing notice her, and even better, to make Song Beiqing fall head over heels for her. Song Beiqing is known to be a ladies' man. Catching his attention should be a piece of cake. Isn't that how it's often described in novels? A man who falls for the heroine would sacrifice anything to make her happy. Li Xianxian was confident that she could make Song Beiqing her devoted admirer, willing to give up everything for her. Chapter 244 Zheng Xianjing, almost outraged, made a fortune. _2. Song Beiqing nodded politely at Li Xianxian. Miss Li. Li Xianxian chuckled and said, Mr. Song, there's no need to be so formal. We're already so familiar. You can just call me by my first name. Before Li Xianxian could finish her sentence, something seemed to catch Song Beiqing's eye. He quickly walked towards that direction, excitedly exclaiming, Na Yang! Song Beiqing! And Na Yang gave a faint smile in response to Song Beiqing. And Na Yang! Her again! The unabashed Jezebel! Seeing this, Li Xianxian nearly gnashed her silver teeth in exasperation. She and Song Beiqing still addressed each other as Mr. and Mississippi after all this time. How many days has Na Yang known Song Beiqing? What gave her the right to call him by his full name? All the status and connections Li Xianxian had painstakingly built up within the Mo family over nearly 2 years had been effortlessly snatched away by Na Yang. Li Xianxian was so angry she could have suffocated herself. Observing from the 3rd floor, even Mo Baichuan was surprised to see Na Yang and Song Beiqing so chummy. It was unexpected that Song Beiqing, an infamous playboy, would fall for Na Yang's tricks too. How he had underestimated Na Yang. Aside from the 2 outrageously expensive invitations, Na Yang actually had quite a good impression of Song Beiqing. Song Beiqing was a thoughtful man with a witty way of speaking. His dialogues expressed no condescension towards women. As the 2 were engrossed in their conversation, a deep voice suddenly interrupted them, Yang Yang. Turning her head, Na Yang saw that the man was Mo Qishan, brother Mo, uncle. Song Beiqing also greeted him respectfully. Although Mo Qishan was known as good for nothing in the circle, Song Beiqing was quite respectful to his uncle. They generally got along well. Mo Qishan chuckled. Beiqing, I just saw the misses of the Wang and Zhao families looking for you over there. Upon hearing this, Song Beiqing visibly flinched. Quickly covering his face with his hands, he whispered in a low voice, Uncle, keep an eye out for me. I'll go and hide at my grandmother's place. If they come looking here, tell them I didn't come. Mo Qishan nodded, acting like a concerned elder. Don't worry, just go. Be more careful in the future. Fearing those women would find him, Song Beiqing hastily departed. Mo Qishan turned to Na Yang, continuing, My nephew is a good man, handsome and virtuous. But he has one flaw. He loves to flirt. Yang, be careful if you continue to associate with him. This kid is quite a womanizer. Even though Mo Qishan was only 2 years older than Song Beiqing, he acted like a sagely elder when dispensing this advice. Like a monarch pointing at the map of his empire. Poor Song Beiqing had no idea his beloved uncle was going behind his back. Na Yang nodded. I understand, brother Mo. Yang, Mo Qishan continued. I've finished most of my work, let's take a stroll. Okay. Na Yang turned and followed Mo Qishan's footsteps. Watching the retreating figures of Na Yang and Mo Qishan, most of Li Xianxian's anger dissipated instantly. It seems she needed to instigate a relationship between these 2. A lowly creature like Na Yang deserved a waist like Mo Qishan. Li Xianxian slowly let a smile curl upon her lips. Mo Qishan led Na Yang to the garden in the back of the Mo family villa. Even though it was winter, the greenhouse was in full bloom, perfuming the air with the fragrance of spring. When they returned to the front hall, the birthday celebration had officially begun. The matriarch of the Mo family sat in the master's seat, graciously receiving the blessings of her descendants. The Mo family was a traditional household that observed the custom of formal bows, meaning the younger generations had to prostrate themselves before the birthday honoree. The matriarch had 5 sons and 2 daughters, minus one daughter who had passed away. She had more than 20 descendants. The sight of them all kneeling together was quite a spectacle. At that moment, Two blonde, blue-eyed foreigners from F country entered. Seeing the two foreigners, Zhang Xianjing became excited and anxious, knowing that they had certainly come looking for Mo Qixin. Simultaneously, she worried about Mo Qixin's identity being revealed, attracting even more women to vie for him. What advantage would she have then? Thinking about this, Zhang Xianjing was filled with trepidation. But things did not turn out as Zhang Xianjing had feared. The two foreigners walked past Mo Qixin, approached the matriarch, and slightly bowed, saying, "Madam Mo, I am Morris. This is my colleague Morris. We are assistants to Mr. Mog. Today, we are here on Mr. Mog's behalf to congratulate you on your birthday, wishing you endless prosperity and a longevity that rivals the southern mountain." Chapter 245. Zhang Xianjing almost died of anger, made a big profit. 3. Meanwhile, Morris prepared a birthday gift for Madame Mo in advance. Mr. Mog? At the mention of this name, a gasp of surprise resonated from the crowd. Such an esteemed Mr. Mog. When did the Mo family establish a relationship with Mr. Mog? Standing by Mo Baichuan, Li Xiangxian's lips twitched upward slightly. Although she had never met Mr. Mog, her memories from her previous life provided knowledge most average people lacked. Mr. Mog's last name is Mo, hailing from the Mo family in Beijing. Because of his low-key behavior, he has always remained out of the media limelight. In the Mo family aside Mo Baichuan, who else could possibly be Mr. Mog? The Mo family's 4 sons were too old and did not fit Mr. Mog's age range. Mo Qixin, the only one left, was a good-for-nothing. Mr. Mog is a graduate of a prestigious foreign university, but Mo Qixin didn't even complete high school. He doesn't even qualify to tie Mr. Mog's shoes. Therefore, in the entire Mo family, only Mo Baichuan could possibly be Mr. Mog. This is because Mo Baichuan had spent 4 years abroad, which meets the qualifications of Mr. Mog's prestigious university degree. Before Li Xianxian got close to the Mo family, she had already clearly figured these details out. Mr. Mog's visit to offer birthday gifts to Madame Mo today only confirmed Li Xiangxian's belief that Mo Baichuan is indeed Mr. Mog. Just the thought that she was favored by such a heavy hitter filled Li Xianxian with more and more excitement. What she couldn't get in her previous life, she would now grasp firmly in this lifetime. Madame Mo had also heard of the famous Mr. Mog. She stood to receive the gift from Morris' hand and chuckled. "Please extend my thanks to Mr. Mog." Actually, Madame Mo was somewhat puzzled. Why would Mr. Mog suddenly send her a birthday gift? After all, before this, there was no interaction between the Mo family and Mr. Mog. However, Mr. Mog's act of sending birthday gifts today did save the Mo family a lot of face. Marcus said, "Our Mr. Mog is a junior in front of you, and it is only appropriate that we offer you a birthday gift. As it's not convenient for Mr. Mog to personally celebrate your birthday, he had us two come on his behalf. We hope Madame Mo won't mind." Madame Mo chuckled and replied, "Not at all. It's an honor for both of you that Mr. Mog is here. After all, he is Mr. Mog. 100 Mo families would still not compare to Mr. Mog." For a while, Morris and Marcus became the center of everyone's attention. Everyone wanted to establish a connection with Mr. Mog. If they couldn't meet him in person, they'd settle with pleasing his 2 assistants. Li Xianxian observed these people with a cold eye, full of contempt in her heart. Without meeting Mr. Mog, what's the use of pleasing 2 assistants? She just wondered what kind of expressions they would wear when these people found out that Mr. Mog was actually Mo Baichuan. That would definitely be a sight to behold. Zhang Xianjing stole a glance at Mo Qixin, and found him extremely reserved. Despite being Mr. Mog, he still maintained a low profile. Fortunately, she had found out everything ahead of time. Otherwise, she too would have become one of the many fools. Seeing Ni Yang standing next to Mo Qixin, Zhang Xianjing's eyes darkened for a moment. Damn slut. Why was she standing at the side of Mo Qixin? This wasn't right. She must teach this little slut a lesson today. She would make her understand that a country bumpkin should know their own place. Zhang Xianjing approached Madame Mo and said with a smile, "Grandma Mo, I have prepared a surprise for you." Madame Mo's face was filled with kindness as she asked, "Oh, what surprise has Xianjing prepared for Grandma?" A servant brought over a box. Zhang Xianjing opened the box and continued. I know Grandma Mo is a devout Buddhist, so I specifically purchased an enlightened strand of top-grade Zetan Buddha beads. I hope Grandma won't find it shoddy. This strand of Buddha beads was smooth with distinct patterns and top-tier quality. It couldn't be bought without tens of thousands of yuan. That's why Zhang Xianjing was so confident. She had already learned that an Yang was just a country bumpkin. What sort of decent birthday gift could a country bumpkin come up with? Madame Mo laughed and said, Not shoddy at all, how could it be? Xianjing, you are really thoughtful. Zhang Xianjing accordingly responded. I should respect Grandma Mo. Saying this, she turned her gaze to Yang, adding gently, The gift in Sister Yang's hand. Is it prepared for Grandma Mo? I've heard Sister Yang is modest and has a unique perspective. Surely the gift you've prepared for Grandma Mo would also be original. Why not show it now and let the rest of us broaden our horizons? Chapter 246. Zhang Xianjing, who nearly died of anger, made a fortune. For witnessing a spectacle? More like a laughingstock. Zhang Xianjing is eager to see Yang being ridiculed. With Zhang Xianjing's Buddha beads made of Zetan wood going for tens of thousands, it wouldn't matter what Yang would present, it would be a joke. Yang calmly walked up to Zhang Xianjing. Then I need a little help from you, Xianjing. As soon as she finished speaking, she opened a long paper box in her hands, took out a painting scroll from inside, handed one end to Zhang Xianjing while she grabbed the other, slowly unfolding the scroll. Zhang Xianjing narrowed her eyes in doubt. Did Yang actually prepare a famous painting? Impossible. How could a country bumpkin possibly afford renowned artwork? As the painting scroll was revealed, the smile on Granny Mo's face gradually turned into shock. Lin Pingping was even more surprised, covering her mouth with her hand. Granny Mo looked at Yang. Yang, did you draw this yourself? Yang nodded. Unlike Xianjing, I'm not as lavish, so I could only make a painting of longevity personally to present to Auntie Mo, wishing her a mountain of longevity, equal to heaven, boundless, prosperous life, infinite lifespan. Good. What a thoughtful child you are. Granny Mo repeated good 3 times, took the painting scroll of longevity in both hands, and displayed it for others to see. The painting showed a large character longevity. When you looked closely, you realized that this longevity was built by 100 smaller longevity characters. Moreover, these 100 longevity characters were written in 100 different styles, including seal script, clerical script, regular script, skinny gold script, cursive script, and so on. Most notably, each longevity character was beautifully written. Regardless its style, you couldn't identify a single error. Clearly, creating such a longevity painting required considerable time and effort. Also, only someone with real skill could create this longevity painting. If it wasn't witnessed firsthand, who would believe such a longevity painting could be drawn by a young girl's hand? This is unbelievable. Anyone who saw this longevity painting was like Granny Mo. Their eyes sparkled with shock. A rise of whispered gossip spread among the crowd. Mo Qishan eyes were filled with pride. His wife was just amazing. Zhang Xianjing was so angry, she was about to explode. She originally wanted to see Yang make a fool of herself, but now her scheme had backfired, and Yang ended up taking the spotlight. Why didn't she think of gifting Granny Mo a longevity painting? If she had gifted the longevity painting to Granny Mo first, wouldn't she be the one stealing the limelight? There'd be no chance for Yang. Why should Yang take all the glory? When the banquet started, Granny Mo deliberately arranged for Yang to sit on her right, indicating her importance. Mo Qishan sat next to Yang, fearing she might feel too restrained to help herself, so he continually served her food and poured her drinks. Strangely, Yang did not dislike his actions, and instead occasionally whispered to him, portraying an intimate relationship, giving Granny Mo an immense joy. Excellent. She knew there is promise between these two. Some are jubilant, others are sorrowful. Mo Baichuan felt more and more irritated watching Yang and Mo Qishan's interaction. Blind. Yang was blind. Even if she wanted to provoke him, she shouldn't have picked Mo Qishan. If Yang could provoke him, then he could also provoke her. With that thought, Mo Baichuan reached out and clipped a large shrimp into Li Xiangxian's bowl. Seeing the shrimp in her bowl, Li Xianxian was immensely flattered. She didn't expect the ice-cold Mo Baichuan would serve her personally. Indeed, even the proudest man would drop all pretenses when facing the woman he likes. Baichuan, thank you. Li Xianxian looked at Mo Baichuan affectionately. You're welcome. Mo Baichuan wiped his mouth with a handkerchief, his gaze unintentionally sweeping over Enai Yang. Li Xianxian noticed a subtle change in Mo Baichuan's expression. Her eyes tightened immediately. Did he notice that little slut? Li Xiangxian's grip on her chopsticks tightened. Of course, not only Li Xianxian felt bad. Zheng Xianjing could have bored holes with how she stared at Enai Yang. Chapter 247. Zheng Xianjing, who nearly passed out in anger, made a big profit. _5. She had exhausted all her schemes and yet couldn't get any closer to Mo Qixin. Why was it that Enai Yang could make it to heaven in one step and win Mo Qixin's favor? Just then, a sharp gaze from Mo Qixin drew across, causing Zheng Xianjing to tremble all over, nearly dropping her chopsticks. Immediately, she quickly withdrew her gaze, daring not to take another glance at Enai Yang. After dinner, Mo Qixin took Enai Yang home. It was a winter evening, and by 4:30, it was already dark. It was very cold outside. Mo Qixin found a scarf for Enai Yang and wrapped it around her. It's too cold today, why don't I just drive you home? Enai Yang smiled and said, No need, cycling is just fine. I'm wearing a lot, so I'm not cold at all. Compared to cars, Enai Yang preferred the leisurely bicycle. Grandma Mo followed behind, instructing Mo Qixin to make sure to take Enai Yang home safely. She also told Enai Yang to come and visit when she had time. Enai Yang said, Okay, I will come often. It's cold outside, you should go in. Grandma Mo nodded and took a few steps inside, then suddenly stopped as if she remembered something. Wait! Yang, you guys wait. Enai Yang and Mo Qixin stopped in confusion. Grandma Mo continued, Wait here for me for 2 minutes. After she spoke, she briskly darted inside the house. A moment later, she came out holding a red gift box. Yang, take this back and let your mom taste it. Grandma Mo shoved the red gift box into Enai Yang's hands. A return gift for a birthday banquet couldn't be refused, so Enai Yang didn't refuse and accepted it after thanking her. She didn't know what was in the gift box, but it was pretty heavy in her hand. Enai Yang sat on the back of the bicycle, holding the gift box. Yang, are you ready? Ready. Enai Yang freed one hand to grab onto Mo Qixin's clothes. Then let's go. This era was not like what it would be in the future. After it got dark, there were hardly any people on the street. The road was deserted and extremely quiet. Looking at the deserted street, Enai Yang asked, Brother Mo, will you be scared when you go back by yourself later? Mo Qixin laughed and said, No, if you're scared, just close your eyes. Enai Yang shook her head. I am not scared. The smile on Mo Qixin's face deepened, and the speed of the bike got faster. The howling cold wind blew past her cheeks, and Enai Yang slightly lowered her head, hiding her face behind him. It was warm, and there was a sense of security. When Enai Yang got home, Enai Tsuehua and Enai Qinggui were already eating dinner. Although Enai Qihua's cooking skills weren't as good as Enai Yang's, the dishes she fried were beyond reproach. Mom, Aunt and I am home. Enai Yang walked in from outside with the gift box. Enai Tsuehua stood up and said, Yang, you're back? Haven't you eaten yet? I'll get a rice bowl for you. Enai Yang smiled and said, Mom, you don't need to worry, I already ate. That's good. Enai Tsuehua sat back down to eat. Enai Qinggui looked up at Enai Yang and teased, Yang, who sent you back just now? Enai Yang smiled slightly. Aunt and I, didn't you already guess? Enai Qinggui continued, Yang, Auntie really thinks that young man Xiaoma is good. Let's not talk about anything else, just look at his face, who among the handsome actors on TV can compare with him? Enai Yang said, I'm still young and not considering those things yet. By the way, Grandma Mo gave me a return gift to bring back, let's see what's inside. As she finished her sentence, Enai Yang began to open the red gift box. Enai Chenggui's eyes were instantly attracted to the gift box. This was a return gift from a well-off family. Where could she ever see this normally? Inside the gift box was a luxuriously tied king crab, and a bunch of pastries and candies. Enai Chingue exclaimed in surprise, "My word! I have never seen such a big spider in my lifetime. Can this even be eaten? Yang Yang's mom, have you ever seen such a big spider? What a peculiar big household." The return gift for a birthday banquet actually was a big spider. Enai Tsuehua shook her head. "I have never seen it either. Is it going to cultivate into spirit?" Beijing was up north and far from the sea. The transportation in this era was underdeveloped, so it was hard for people to see seafood. Something like king crab was even unheard of. Therefore, it was normal for Enai Tsuehua and Enai Chingue not to recognize the king crab. Enai Yang laughed as she explained, "Mom, Aunt and I, this is a king crab, a crab species that grows at depths of 850 meters in the deep sea." Chapter 248. Zheng Xianjing, who almost died of anger, made a big profit. _6. Enai Chingue paused for a moment, then asked, "A crab? Good heavens!" This was the first time she'd ever heard of such a crab existing in the world. It looked just like a giant spider. Enai Yang nodded. "Yes, it's a type of crab." Enai Tsuehua poked at the back of the king crab, curiously asking, Yang, can we eat this crab?" "Yes, it's edible," Enai Yang replied with a smile. "This type of crab has thick meat, a delicious flavor, and is at least 10 times better than ordinary crabs. It's known as the king of crabs. That's why it's called the king crab." Enai Chingue exclaimed in surprise. "Then this type of crab must be very expensive, right?" "I haven't looked into the exact price, but it shouldn't be cheap." In the future world, king crab would be sold at a staggering price of 1,000 yuan per jean, which ordinary families could hardly afford. In this era of undeveloped transportation, king crab must be even more expensive. Enai Yang never expected that Grandmother Mo's return gift would be a king crab. No wonder the gift box felt quite heavy when she carried it. Knowing what Enai Yang just said, Enai Chingue realized the king crab must be very expensive and she sighed. Affluent families are really different. They not only gift crabs but also high-grade king crabs, and even their pastries and candies are imported. 1 pound of these candies could probably match her monthly salary. Indeed, there should be no comparison between people. When she finished speaking, Enai Chingue gripped Enai Yang's wrist and earnestly said, Yang, you must certainly hold on to Xiaoma dearly." Enai Yang laughed. "Auntie and I, no matter how good the husband, their stuff will always be theirs. What if he decides to divorce me when I grow old? Wouldn't it turn out to be just a burst of happiness? Therefore, I think a girl should still rely on herself. As long as she has her own money, she won't have to marry someone for their money in the future." Enai Chingue sighed. "That's true." Enai Yang, despite her young age, understood things no less than those older than her. She even looked further into the future than some of them. Marrying a wealthy man is not as good as being wealthy oneself. This statement was too true. After some thought, Enai Chingue added, "But I think Xiaoma probably isn't that kind of person." Enai Yang just laughed without commenting, then asked, "By the way, Auntie and I, do you remember that a mysterious buyer had ordered 30 boxes of whitening moisturizer from me through you?" Enai Chingue nodded. "I remember, what about it?" "Auntie and I, could you tell her tomorrow that the price of the whitening moisturizer has gone up? If she wants to buy it, it's now 800 yuan a box, and she has to pay the full amount before I can give it to her." Enai Yang's expression was calm, not minding the high price of 800 yuan. 800 yuan? This number did surprise Enai Chingue. Yang, has the price of the whitening moisturizer increased?" Enai Yang shook her head. "The original price is still the same for others. Only for that mysterious buyer it is 800 yuan. Li Xianxian had boasted in front of a crowd of wealthy young ladies. Enai Yang was curious to see if Li Xianxian would be willing to pay this price. Enai Chingue was a smart woman, and she guessed the situation. Well, will she buy it? People nowadays are all very shrewd. 800 yuan is a sum that ordinary people would take several years to earn, unless the buyer is a fool. And even if the buyer is really foolish, it does not necessarily mean she has that much money. Remember, 30 bottles amount to more than 20,000 yuan. And Ai Yang smiled. If she doesn't buy it, there are a bunch of people waiting in line. Also, Auntie and I, don't give her any information about me. And Ai Chungui nodded. Sure, Yang, I understand. The next morning, Ai Yang went to the noodle restaurant. After several days of renovation, the neighboring shop was almost ready. Ai Yang assigned all the work of buying tables, chairs, plaques, and such to Wang Tiniu, and gave him 200 yuan. Being reliable, Wang Tiniu took others to the furniture factory and bought over a dozen tables and chairs the same day. He made sure that Ai Yang didn't have to worry about the rest of the finishing work. The men cleaned up the neighbor's shop entirely, just waiting for Ai Yang to choose an opening day. Since Ai Yang trusted them so much, they couldn't let her down. Yang, this is the change from the purchase of materials. Wang Tiniu returned the remaining 30 yuan to Ai Yang. Ai Yang smilingly refused. Uncle Tiniu, you can use this 30 yuan to buy some cigarettes and alcohol to split amongst the other uncles. Chapter 249. Zheng Xianjing, who almost died of anger, made a big profit. 7 Ai Yang was never stingy with those who depended on their labor to make a living. Purchasing people's hearts for 30 yuan, now that was a good deal. No need. Wang Tiniu said. Yang, we've already received so much wages from you. We can't possibly take more money from you under any circumstances. For a shop renovation completed in 15 days, Ai Yang insisted on paying a wage of 60 yuan. Under normal circumstances, where could they earn so much money? Ai Yang continued. Uncle Tiniu, there's no need for formality with me. With the new year approaching, consider this a small token of my appreciation. If you refuse to accept, next time I have a shop that needs renovating, I won't be hiring workers from our village. Upon hearing Ai Yang's words, Wang Tiniu hesitantly accepted the money, then headed to the nearby convenience store to buy some cigarettes and liquor to share with everyone. With the new year coming soon, cigarettes and alcohol were essentials for every household. Ai Yang's gesture undoubtedly eased everyone's pressing need. Now who in the village wouldn't praise Ai Yang? When Li Xianxian heard that the price of the moisturizing cream had risen to 800 yuan per box, she thought she was hallucinating. She turned to the short-haired girl next to her. Did you hear correctly? Really 800 yuan? Wasn't it 108 yuan per box before? The short-haired girl nodded. My mom told me herself. Could she be wrong? And they also told me that you have to pay in full, or they won't sell it to you. Why would the price suddenly rise so much? Isn't this asking for the moon? Li Xianxian frowned deeply. The short-haired girl shook her head. I don't really know too much about it, Xianxian. So, do you still want it? I need to tell my mom. 800 yuan per box. For Li Xianxian, this was undoubtedly an astronomical figure. Although she had now gained the favor of the Mo family, and Madame Mo treated her quite well, Madame Mo never gave her any cash. Even if Madame Mo did, to maintain her image, Li Xianxian never accepted it. She worked as Mo Baichuan's private assistant, and her monthly salary was just 90 yuan. The 30 boxes of moisturizing cream she had previously ordered exhausted all her savings. Now with the price soaring to 800 yuan per box, 30 boxes would cost 24,000 yuan. Where could she get that kind of money? But if she didn't order, how could she explain to those high society girls? She had already made big claims in front of them. In order to salvage her image, she had said she would give them some, for free. That's more than 20,000 yuan. The more Li Xianxian thought about it, the more her head hurt. Just then, Li Xianxian suddenly remembered the jade jewelry set that Madame Mo had given her when they first met. Surely, those pieces must be worth quite a bit of money, right? How about pawning that set of jewelry first? After she marries Mo Baichuan, she could redeem the jewelry, right? Let's just deal with the immediate problem first. Li Xianxian bit her lip and finally decided to pawn her jewelry to buy the moisturizing cream. The next day, Li Xianxian took the set of jewelry to the pawn shop. After it was appraised, it was confirmed that Madame Mo's jade set was indeed of high quality, but she could only get 10,000 yuan for it. But, how about the remaining 10,000 yuan? Having no other choice, Li Xianxian had to take out her other pieces of jewelry and pawn them too. After leaving the pawn shop, Li Xianxian made a trip to the hospital and sold over 500 milliliters of her blood, then borrowed some money from several classmates. After scraping together in every possible way, Li Xianxian was finally able to gather a total of over 20,000 yuan. After collecting this amount, Li Xianxian felt as if she had suffered a serious illness. She felt so miserable that she wanted to cry. If she had known it would be like this, she would never have boasted in front of those high society girls. However, the moment she thought about how this 20,000 yuan would help her secure a more stable position in the high society circles, she felt much better. After all, she was going to marry Mo Baichuan in the future. 20,000 yuan was nothing. When Enai Chengui received the 24,000 yuan, her hands trembled. It was the first time she had seen so much money, and the first time she'd met someone so foolish. Rich people are really terrifying. When Enai Chengui handed the money to Enai Yang was busy in the kitchen. Yang, this is the money from the mysterious buyer. Enai Yang looked surprised. They sent the money so soon? It seems that Li Xianxian was quite wealthy. She should have said it was 1,000 yuan per box earlier. Enai Chengui nodded. Yang, who do you think this mysterious buyer is? How can they be so rich? 24,000 yuan. According to her monthly salary of 30 yuan, it would take her at least 66 years to earn this. And this person spent 24,000 yuan to buy 30 boxes of skincare products. Enai Yang smiled and said, perhaps they might be millionaires. Enai Chengui sighed. They are so rich. How do they make so much money? Enai Yang took half of the stack of money and handed it to Enai Chengui. Aunt Enai, take this. Enai Chengui was startled and hurriedly refused. No, I can't accept it. No good deed goes unpaid, and she wasn't entitled to any good deed. How could she accept such a large sum of money from Enai Yang for no reason? Enai Yang directly stuffed the money into Enai Chengui's pocket. Aunt Enai, just keep it. If it wasn't for you, I wouldn't be able to sell the moisturizing cream at such a high price. Enai Yang was not the kind of person to be stingy, and the main credit for this transaction goes to Enai Chengui. It was a total of 24,000 yuan. Even if she gave half to Enai Chengui, she was still left with 12,000 yuan. She made a fortune on this order. Enai Chengui still refused. No. Yang, listen to me. If your products sell for a high price, it's because they are good. It has nothing to do with me. Besides, you already give me a 1 yuan commission for each bottle. There is no way I can take more money from you, it would be rude. Enai Yang insisted on giving the money to Enai Chengui. Aunt Enai, you deserve this. Enai Chengui frowned and said, Yang, I can't accept it. If you continue like this, I won't sell beautiful skin ice masks for you anymore. Seeing Enai Chengui like this, Enai Yang had to take back the money for the time being. She plans to buy some jewelry for Enai Chengui for the new year. Just then a commotion came from the entrance. Is Yang home? Chapter 250. Unexpected surprise. Investigating Sun Dalian's castle. Listening to the voices, it seemed like there were more than one person outside. Enai Yang put away the money and went outside with Enai Chengui saying, we're home. Enai Tsuehua also came out from inside carrying a child in her arms. As soon as they opened the courtyard gate, they saw a crowd of people standing outside. If it were someone else, seeing a crowd of people outside would certainly perplex them. But not Enai Yang. She immediately welcomed them warmly, saying, Uncle Lu, Aunt Wang, Aunt Ling, Grandpa Shi, please come in and have a seat. Uncle Lu was the one who suggested last time that he would help Enai Yang's family apply for a residential plot, homestead. Uncle Liu's family was known to be extremely frugal. People usually couldn't even get a sip of tap water from their house. However, his family had never been stingy with Enai Yang. His wife often brought Enai Yang vegetables and eggs, and even helped Enai Tsuehua look after her child. To be precise, all the villagers in Jinghua village treated Enai Yang very well. Even the most selfish villagers became exceptionally kind and friendly when they met Enai Yang. After all, Enai Yang was the lucky star of their village. Uncle Lu said with a smile, Yang, we are not going to sit down today. We came to tell you some good news. The villagers also nodded in agreement. Enai Chengui joked, Uncle Lu, what kind of good news can you bring? Uncle Lu mysteriously replied. This good news will surely surprise you. Enai Chingui replied. Well then let's hear it. Uncle Lu turned to Enai Yang and solemnly declared. Yang Yang, the village has officially approved a homestead for your 3-member family. Now you're truly a part of our Jinghua village. Upon hearing this, Enai Tsuehua and Enai Chingui were both stunned. Enai Tsuehua in particular was so moved that her eyes turned red. A homestead. Having a homestead meant that they could build a house in the village. For a farmer, having a house of their own in the village was their real home. Their true roots. With a home, you feel secure. Without a home you feel adrift. Enai Chingui said. Uncle Lu, you can't joke about things like this. Enai Tsuehua and Enai Yang were not originally from Jinghua village. Could the homestead be approved so easily? For a moment, Enai Chingui was a bit stunned, filled with joy for Enai Yang yet somewhat incredulous. This Uncle Lu was notorious for stirring the pot. What if he was joking? Uncle Lu laughed and said, Look at what you're saying, I may not always be reliable, but I can't joke about this. Yang Yang, here is your homestead certificate. As he said this, Uncle Lu handed the homestead certificate to Enai Yang. Yang Yang, the homestead allocated to your family by the village is right next to Chenggui's house. You can build a house there anytime. Considering that Enai Chingui and Enai Yang were quite close, everyone had arranged for the site to be next to Enai Chenggui's house during the application, making it convenient for both families to visit each other. One must admit, everyone had thought this through thoroughly. They were genuinely kind towards Enai Yang. Back in those days, a homestead certificate was not a red booklet, but a white sheet of paper, stating the usable area of the homestead, the approver and the applicant. Uncle Lu, thank you. And thanks to all of you. Enai Yang received the homestead certificate and bowed to everyone. She really hadn't expected that they would help her apply for a homestead. To say she wasn't moved would be a lie. They were outsiders, and it wasn't easy to settle down in Jinghua village, let alone apply for a homestead. It is conceivable how much effort Uncle Lu and others put into this matter. Uncle Lu, somewhat embarrassed, said, It's nothing. There's strength in numbers. We reported to the village and they readily approved it. The rest of them also agreed. Yang Yang, Uncle Lu is right. We didn't exert much effort on this. Don't worry about it. Besides, we all live in the same village. It's normal to help each other. And you've helped us a lot too. As it was dinner time, Enai Yang invited everyone for dinner. But everyone declined. Everyone was very happy that the homestead was approved, and they just came to relay the good news to Enai Yang, not to freeload a meal. Enai Yang was so good to them, they couldn't always take advantage of her. Uncle Lu laughed and said, Yang Yang, let's leave it for today. If you sincerely want to invite us for a meal, wait until the topping out ceremony of the new house. We can all celebrate together. Chapter 251. Unexpected Surprise. Investigating Sun Dalian's Past _2. Topping out is a tradition in rural areas. It mainly refers to the process of installing the highest beam in the roof. When this beam is installed, it signifies that the house construction is complete. This process is also called topping out. On the day of the topping out, relatives and friends come over to celebrate, and the host will set a banquet to entertain them. This tradition is valued in the countryside. However, in later generations, as everyone bought houses to live in the city, this tradition was forgotten by many. Great! Enai Yang laughed. Everyone must come at that time. Lu Lao Lu and other villagers all nodded. Definitely. We will be there. Well, go ahead for now, Yang Yang. Enai Yang and Enai Tsuehua escorted everyone to the door. Watching everyone's retreating figures, Enai Tsuehua raised her voice. They are all good people. Yang Yang, we must not forget this kindness. We must always remember to be grateful. Back in Dam Village, Enai Tsuehua had never experienced such warmth before. But in Jinghua Village, Enai Tsuehua saw another side of human nature. Enai Yang nodded. Don't worry, Mom. This incident further strengthened Enai Yang's determination to lead Jinghua Village to prosperity. Seeing Enai Tsuehua and Enai Yang officially settling down in Jinghua Village and successfully obtaining the land certificate, Enai Chingui was genuinely happy for Enai Yang. It wasn't easy for Enai Yang to have come this far. Enai Chingui still remembers when they first arrived in Jinghua village. Everyone was wary of them as if they were thieves. In just half a year, everyone's opinion of them had changed so much. This was all thanks to Enai Yang's good nature and her ability to win over people's hearts. Yang Yang's mom, shall we go and check out the land plot? Enai Chingui suggested. Sure. Enai Chingui nodded. The three of them exited the courtyard. The plot granted by the village was located east of Enai Chingui's quadrangle courtyard. The location was very good. Enai Chingui laughed. We are going to be neighbors. Enai Tsuehua was so excited that she didn't know what to say, repeatedly nodding her head. Enai Yang gazed at this piece of land, and the hope shining in her eyes was as bright as the stars. What is hope? The land before her eyes was hope. Seeing the scene, even Enai Chingui, a woman herself, couldn't help but exclaim how beautiful Enai Yang was. How could Enai Yang be so beautiful? A beautiful young girl like Enai Yang calls her Aunt Enai, which feels so honorary. To celebrate the happy day, Enai Yang decided to cook a few more dishes. She reserved king crab given by old lady Mo. The king crab was huge. Enai Yang cut it into halves, steam-cooked one half and stir-fried the other half with spices. Soon Enai Yang decided on the rest of the dishes. Shrimp stir-fried with black beans. The secrets of longevity states. Eating black beans replenishes the body, improves the complexion, fills vitality, increases strength, fills deficiency and enhances ability to eat. In other words, black beans have anti-aging effects. Enai Tsuehua was in her 30s, and Enai Chingui was in her 40s. Eating black beans often would be very beneficial for them. Over the past half year, the changes in Enai Tsuehua and Enai Chingui have been tremendous. If it were not the fact that people saw them every day, they might even suspect a makeover. Stir-fried lamb liver. Lamb liver is packed with a variety of nutrients such as vitamin A, vitamin B2, and iron. Vitamin A stimulates the growth of the thymus gland, which makes the chest full and rounded. Therefore, this is a breast-enhancing dish. Enai Yang paid great attention to breast growth, so almost every day she prepared a breast-enhancing dish. The soup of the day was potato mushroom soup. Potatoes have a detoxifying and beautifying effect, eliminate eye bags, nourish the blood, and enhance vitality. Also, potatoes are a natural beauty product because they contain a lot of vitamins B and C, which can help lighten dark circles under the eyes. Enai Yang had to wake up early every day to work at the noodle restaurant. Black circles under her eyes were inevitable, but with potato mushroom soup, there was no fear of dark circles. After this period of dietary therapy and skincare, Enai Yang's skin was as smooth as a baby's. Her skin was so moist and soft, it looked like it would break with a single blow. Her body shape was also maintained very well. If it were to be described in a line of poetry, it probably would be: her face like the flowering hibiscus, her waist slender like a willow, incomparably charming and enticing. In this life, not only does Enai Yang want to become stronger, but she also wants to keep her appearance and body shape in the best state. Chapter 252. Unexpected Surprise, Investigating Sun Dalian's Past _3. In this life, she was determined to be the best and most beautiful version of herself. Enai Yang brought the food to the dining room. Seeing Enai Yang come in, Enai Chingui quickly went to the kitchen to help carry the dishes. Enai Tsuehua, holding the baby, couldn't offer much help. Little Enai Yin was already 6 months old now, and by the 6th month, little Enai Yin had begun to recognize people. Seeing Enai Yang approaching, she would exclaim in excitement. During mealtimes, little Enai Yin would sit in a rocking crib nearby, playing by herself. Her soft and adorable behavior made everyone want to shower her with kisses. The steamed king crab retained its original flavor. The spicy version added extra numbing and aromatic tastes onto its original flavor. Both flavors had their unique charm. It was the first time Enai Chingui and Enai Tsuehua had ever tasted king crab, and they didn't know where to start with their chopsticks. Enai Yang found a pair of scissors and started to peel the crab meat while demonstrating to both of them. As Enai Yang moved, a tempting aroma wafted from the crab meat, making everyone's mouth water. Enai Yang distributed the peeled crab meat into Enai Chingui and Enai Quihua's bowls. Aunt Enai, Mom, you both should try it. Enai Chingui carefully placed a chopstick full of meat into his mouth. Known as top-grade seafood, the king crab blew him away once he tasted it. The crab was fresh, tender, crispy, smooth, and the pieces were fairly large. Each bite was bursting with happiness, making you impulsively close your eyes and marvel at the divine taste. How could there be such delicious food in the world? Delicious. It's absolutely delicious. Enai Chingui nodded repeatedly, brimming with excitement. Enai Quihua's face was also full of astonishment. The meal was incredibly satisfying. A king crab usually weighs around 7 to 8 kilograms. Together with 2 side dishes and a soup, these 3 women managed to finish everything, not even leaving the soup. Enai Chingui reclined on the sofa, exclaiming that whoever married Enai Yang in the future would be extremely fortunate. Enai Quihua's face was all smiles. Watching her daughter being so outstanding made her, as a mother, naturally proud. Enai Tsuehua wasn't foolish. She knew that the reason for their smooth life in Jinghua village was all thanks to Enai Yang. If it weren't for Enai Yang, she wouldn't even know where she would be right now. Enai Chingui continued. When are you planning to build your house, Yang Yang's mom? Enai Tsuehua smiled at Enai Yang. It's all up to Yang Yang. Whenever Yang Yang says so. Enai Yang replied. The new year is coming soon, so how about we wait until after that? Even though Enai Yang had decided to buy more houses in Beijing, she still had to build a house in the village. There's a big difference between a bought house and a built house. Even though they grew up in Dam Village, Jinghua Village was the place that gave them a new outlook on life. It was inseparable. Enai Tsuehua nodded. All right, well, do whatever you say. Once the decision to build a house was confirmed, Enai Yang began to draft the blueprint. Most houses built in this era looked similar. Enai Yang wanted to include some trendy elements, like an open-air balcony where they could barbecue and stargaze, and a sunroom which was indispensable, as well as a small garden. The allocated residential land in the village was large enough, so they could do whatever they wanted. However, one shouldn't rush when creating a blueprint. It should be done slowly. Enai Yang didn't come up with any other designs at the moment, but she could add them in the future. After drafting a rough model, Enai Yang went to the next room to study new skincare products. This time, she planned to research anti-wrinkle cream. After all, aging is every woman's enemy. If the effect is good, there is no worry about being unable to sell it. The income from Enai Yang's skincare products was very good during this time, with a daily income of 200 to 300 yuan. Adding the income from the noodle restaurant, she could now earn about 2,000 yuan per day. According to the current situation, once the milk tea shop next door opens, her daily income would be around 3,000 yuan. Calculating it this way, it would be 1.08 million yuan a year. 1.08 million may seem like a lot to ordinary people, but to Enai Yang it was nothing. After all, Song Beicheng could spend over 3 million yuan a year on hiring chefs. However, she could use money to make more money. She could expand the skincare product business, and also the noodle restaurant business. Turn this 1.08 million into 10.08 million 100, 0.8 million 1,000, 0.8 million, or even more. Enai Yang was never short of passion for life. Chapter 253. Unexpected Surprise, Investigating Sundalian's Past _4. In the 80s, teeming with business opportunities, Enai Yang brimmed with confidence in herself. After spending some time researching cosmetics, Enai Yang went to sleep. When she woke up in the wee hours of the next morning, she was astonished to find that it was snowing outside. This was the first snowfall of the year. It was also her first snowfall after her rebirth. Enai Yang bundled herself up tightly and caught a snowflake in her hand, surprised to discover that books hadn't lied. Snowflakes really were hexagonal. However, it quickly melted in the palm of her hand. Enai Yang also readied the kitchen. Since it was snowing, she made a pot of red dates and corn porridge. On a winter morning, there's nothing like a bowl of steaming corn porridge to warm you from head to toe. Moreover, both corn and red dates are beneficial for energy, health, beauty, and complexion. After the porridge was ready, Enai Yang served a bowl to Granny Mo, then picked up the dish she had prepared the night before, and began to stir-fry it. Soon, enticing aromas wafted through the small kitchen. At 3:30 in the morning, In-Young set off on her bicycle punctually. Though it was snowing heavily, she was insulated in her raincoat, and this didn't hinder her ride. When In-Young arrived at the noodle restaurant, a thick layer of snow had accumulated on the ground. Her footprints crunched in the snow, and a thick layer of snow had also clung to her raincoat. In-Young didn't waste a minute, and got down to work as soon as she took off her raincoat. As she lit the gas stove, the room slowly warmed up. Soon, she heard Zhou Qingshang and Wang Jinfeng chatting outside. Wow, the snow is really heavy. Yes, it's been many years since we've seen such heavy snow, hasn't it? Must have been 7 or 8 years now. I remember the last time it snowed this heavily, I had just married Tiniu. The two of them entered the room chuckling. In-Young smiled and said, Aunt Wang, Aunt Jinfeng, the weather is colder now. You don't need to come this early anymore. You can come at 6 o'clock. Wang Jinfeng asked, We couldn't sleep anyway. By the way, Yang, when are you planning to open the milk tea shop next door? The shop next door had been renovated, and was waiting for In-Young to open. Seeing that the weather was getting colder, business for milk tea was sure to be good. In-Young replied, It'll open the day after tomorrow. She personally chose the opening day. Some things were better off believed than not, especially after In-Young's rebirth. She believed in these things even more. Zhou Qingshang exclaimed excitedly, Does that mean that Gooden's mother and Xiaowa's mother can come to work with us from now on? Speaking of this matter, In-Young suddenly remembered she hadn't had a chance to inform Gooden's mother and Xiaowa's mother yet. It seemed she had to settle this matter when she returned home in the evening. In-Young replied, Aunt Wang, you reminded me that I have to tell Xiaowa's mother and Gooden's mother about this when I go home tonight. If they agree, they can start work together the day after tomorrow. Zhou Qingshang laughed. How can they refuse such a great offer? They're not idiots. It's 60 yuan per month. That's 720 yuan a year. How many women are able to earn this much money? Wang Jinfeng nodded in agreement. The weather was unusually cold today, so there were a surprisingly large number of people coming for noodles. Besides, everyone ordered a cup of milk tea while eating noodles. The air was filled with the tartness of vinegar and the richness of milk tea, intertwining in a pleasant way. In-Young had also customized disposable cups, so some people ordered another cup of milk tea to take away after finishing their noodles. In this severe winter, a cup of milk tea not only warms the heart but also the hands. Though the business was good, In-Young ensured she took her scheduled break at noon. After lunch, In-Young went to the bank to deposit money. She was bundled up from head to toe, only her cat-like peach blossom eyes visible. Being unfamiliar to many, no one could recognize her. With the additional amount of 24,000 yuan that Li Xianxian had given, In-Young deposited a total of 60,000 yuan this time. All the people in the bank recognized In-Young. When she entered, the teller greeted her warmly. Miss N.I. is here. In-Young removed her scarf, revealing her beautiful face, smiling to the teller. Her smile was incredibly charming, the corners of her mouth curling up subtly, as if drawing people in. The teller, in all her beauty and grace, was far more outstanding than the average person. But when she faced In-Young, she seemed just as plain. She was just too beautiful. A man in a suit came out from inside the bank. At a glance, he was stunned by In-Young's beauty. Chapter 254. Unexpected Surprise, Investigating Sun Dalian's Past _5. Beautiful women are not rare, but such charmingly spirited beauties truly are. She radiates a deep classical aura, as if she stepped right out of a painting from the Republic era, a sight that lights up one's eyes. Even though this girl seems young, she has an aura that could stir one up. The man paused in his steps, then continued walking forward. Inside the car, he looked at his assistant and asked, Don't we still need a teller at our bank? The assistant was surprised, then nodded. The man continued, That girl we just passed seemed quite impressive. Understanding his intent, the assistant immediately responded, I'll handle it right away. Having said this, the assistant stepped out of the car. The assistant entered the bank hall and summoned the teller currently serving In-Young, whispering something into her ear. Upon hearing him, the teller laughed and said, That young woman isn't here for an interview. She's here to make a deposit. Also, I estimate she might not even be interested in this job. Any ordinary person, upon learning they could become a bank teller, would be so overjoyed they couldn't sleep. After all, working at a bank is considered a stable job. But who is Enai Yang? She routinely deposits tens of thousands of yuan. So how could she possibly be interested in a teller job paying a monthly salary of just 35 yuan? Wiry, the assistant asked. The teller continued. Do you know how much she is depositing this time? The assistant shook his head. The teller extended her 5 fingers. 50? The assistant queried. The teller chuckled. 50? She probably wouldn't even glance at 50 yuan left lying on the ground. The assistant checked out Enai Yang again, noticing her plain attire. Could it be 500? The teller shook her head. Swallowing, the assistant asked. Surely it's not 5,000, right? The teller replied. 5,000 times 10. How much is 5,000 times 10? The assistant was momentarily stunned. After a while he figured out the answer. With trembling legs, he returned to the car and shared the news with the man inside. Upon hearing him, the man was momentarily astounded. He hadn't expected that someone dressed so simply could be so rich. 50,000 yuan meant nothing to him, but for the average person, it was a fortune. After depositing the money, Enai Yang made her way to the detective agency. Xiaozhou at the detective agency warmly welcomed Enai Yang. Miss Enai, what service may I assist you with this time? Ever since Enai Yang gave him the sour jujube seeds last time, Xiaozhou hadn't suffered from insomnia again. Xiaozhou was truly grateful to Enai Yang, and he marveled at how profound and extensive traditional Chinese medicine is. Much better than treating symptoms without addressing the root cause, which Western medicine often does. Enai Yang chuckled. This time, I want you to investigate someone for me. Xiaozhou poured a cup of tea for Enai Yang. Please tell me who. Enai Yang lifted the cup and took a sip of tea. I want you to investigate Sun Dalian. Sun Dalian? Xiaozhou pondered and then said. Isn't she the daughter of Li Shu, who you had me investigate last time? Enai Yang nodded affirmatively. Yes, her. I want to know about her past in the countryside. Enai Yang had a gut feeling that Li Xianxian had a past she desperately wanted to keep hidden. If Li Xianxian wanted to hide it, then Enai Yang was even more determined to unearth the truth. She intended to take revenge for what happened in her previous life, bit by bit. She wouldn't let Li Xianxian die easily, nor live comfortably. Xiaozhou nodded in agreement. All right, no problem. Enai Yang took out 300 yuan and placed it on the table. This is the deposit. Xiaozhou collected the money and mentioned. By the way, Miss Enai, someone has been investigating you. All detective agencies share information with each other. As long as Xiaozhou paid attention to a specific individual, he could get up-to-date information about them, no matter how minor. It's Li Xianxian, isn't it? Enai Yang said, smiling lightly. Li Xianxian didn't know much about Enai Yang's previous life, so to learn more, she had to investigate. Xiaozhou was taken aback for a moment. He didn't expect Enai Yang to pinpoint the culprit right away. Xiaozhou continued. Li Xianxian is investigating your current condition, but rest assured, Miss Enai, we only provided her with information she could easily discern. Nothing else was revealed. Xiaozhou was trying to repay Enai Yang's past kindness, considering how much she had helped him before. Enai Yang responded with a smile. Thank you, Mr. Xiaozhou. It's me who should be thanking you, Miss Enai. Xiaozhou stood up and said. The remedy you suggested last time really saved me. Chapter 255. Unexpected surprise. Investigating Sun Dalian's past _6. Enai Yang said. Mr. Xiaozhou, there is no need to be so polite. It was just a prescription, which is what someone in my profession ought to do. Her tone was calm. There wasn't any trace of self-satisfaction in her eyes, as if she didn't see this as something to be proud of. As a detective, Xiaozhou had encountered all sorts of people, but he had never met anyone as modest as Enai Yang. What's more, she was only 17 years old. As Xiaozhou looked at Enai Yang, a phrase suddenly came to his mind. Quiet as a chrysanthemum. His admiration for her deepened even further. He couldn't help but wonder, What kind of family could raise such an excellent daughter? After leaving the detective agency, Anna Young headed back to the noodle shop. Business was still bustling in the afternoon, but Anna Young didn't extend the shop's opening hours. She kept to her regular closing time, and the patrons also respected her routine. They would stop getting in line by 6:30 p.m. After work, Anna Young headed to the vegetable market and bought some beef and lamb for a hot pot dinner. The idea of a cozy night in, with the family gathered around the table and a steaming hot pot in the snow, was simply delightful. It had been snowing all day, leaving a thick layer of snow on the road, at least 10 centimeters deep. Riding on snowy roads was certainly more challenging than on smooth lanes, so it took Anna Young over 40 minutes to get to the entrance of Jinghua village. Anna Tsuehua had been worried about Anna Young encountering any difficulties on her way, so she waited outside early, cradling little Anna Yun in her arms. Seeing Anna Young riding home, she finally smiled. "Look, your sister is back," Anna Tsuehua told little Anna Yun. On seeing Anna Young, little Anna Yun started to chirp excitedly, his eyes squinting with excitement. "Yun, have you been a good boy and listened to mommy's words today?" Anna Young bent down to pat little Anna Yun's head. At 6 months old, little Anna Yun didn't understand Anna Yang's words. He only knew that he was happy to see his sister, and reached out, wanting her to hold him. Anna Young laughed and said, "Wait a while, sis will hold you when we get home." Anna Tsuehua said, "The roads are hazardous in this snowy weather, Yang. How about you take a day off tomorrow? It will not be an issue if we don't open the noodle shop for a day. You see, we can't possibly earn all the money in the world, but health is paramount." Anna Young laughed and replied, "I'm okay, Mom. I'm still young, so a bit of hardship doesn't scare me. If I don't seize the opportunity to work hard now, I may not get another chance later." Missing the chance to earn some money in such a prosperous era would make it much harder to strike gold in the future. As soon as they arrived home, Anna Young got off her bike and unloaded the stuff she bought. She took little Anna Yun from Anna Quihua's hands, then said, "Mom, I'm going to call on Gooden and Xiaohua." "All right," Anna Tsuehua said, nodding her head. "Be careful on the road." After Anna Young left, Anna Tsuehua started to sort out the food Anna Young had bought. Importantly, Anna Tsuehua could tell what they'd be having for dinner based on the ingredients Anna Young had returned with. First, she washed the beef bones and started to boil a soup. In the meantime, she washed the other ingredients. Though Anna Tsuehua didn't know how to make hot pot base, she prepared everything else. When Anna Young returned, they would just need to cook the base, and then they could start eating. Gooden's place was the nearest, so Anna Young visited him first, knocking on the door. "Who's that?" "It's me, Anna Young." As Gooden heard it was Anna Young, he promptly perked up and ran to open the door, exclaiming, "Sister Anna Young, I'm coming." "Sister Anna Young, our family is about to have dinner. You should join us." Jokingly, Anna Young said, "I eat a lot, you know. Are you sure you want me to eat you out of house and home?" Beating his chest, Gooden replied, "No worries. You can eat as much as you want, Sister Na Yang." Then Gooden leaned closer, lowering his voice to whisper, "I have a secret for you, Sister Anna Yang. My mom made braised pork for dinner tonight. It may not taste as good as the one you cook, but it's still decent." Anna Yang couldn't help but smile, reaching out to tap Gooden's head. Gooden's mother, Han Xiaoqin, came out from the house. She took little Anna Yin from Anna Yang and warmly said, "Anna Yang, do come in. Gooden's dad, Anna Yang, is here. Please add a pair of chopsticks." All right. It must be cold outside. Come in quickly." Anna Yang was now one of the most popular figures in Jinghua village. No matter where she went, she was always given the VIP treatment. Chapter 256. Unexpected Surprise. Investigating Sun Dalian's past. Why the living conditions of Gooden's family were average in the village, with 5 earthen houses and the living room located in the middle. It was dinner time, and the whole family was gathered in the living room. Seeing Anna Yang come over, Gooden's grandparents warmly stood up. Yang is here, come sit, old man. Hurry and fetch some candy from the room." The elderly often stash away some treats. Gooden's grandpa immediately went to get some candy. If it were anyone else, they wouldn't be willing to give away their candies, but Anna Yang was different. and Young was their little lucky star in the village. And Young sat down. Uncles and aunties, grandparents, you don't have to be so polite, I just came to talk about something. Gooden's father brought over a new set of bowls and chopsticks. Talk after you eat, talk after you eat. Nothing is more important than eating. Han Xiaoqin picked up an extra pair of chopsticks and gave Young a piece of meat. Yang, have some meat. It might not be as good as what you make, don't mind it. In this era, meat was something people couldn't afford to buy at 2 yuan per pound. Gooden's family had many children, making their living circumstances even harder. They barely had meat to eat throughout the year. They only dared to buy some meat this time because Gooden's dad had worked for half a month at Yang's shop and earned 120 yuan, so they purchased some meat for everyone to enjoy on this snowy day. Gooden's family was extremely warm and hospitable, so Young picked up her chopsticks and ate a piece of meat, which was just common courtesy. If she didn't eat at all, wouldn't it be a waste of their kind intentions? The meat was very delicious. It melted in the mouth and was not greasy at all. Auntie Han, your cooking skills are very good. Having received Yang's praise, Han Xiaoqin couldn't stop smiling. Gooden's grandpa handed a bunch of candies to Young. Young quickly took them with both hands. Thank you, Grandpa. Gooden's grandpa laughed heartily and said, don't be shy with Grandpa. Young continued, Auntie Han, I came here to discuss something with you. Han Xiaoqin said, Yang, just say what's on your mind. Don't be so polite with Auntie. As long as it is something that Auntie can do, I will definitely help you. Young smiled and proceeded to invite Han Xiaoqin to work at the milk tea shop. The salary is the same as Auntie Zhou and Aunt Jinfeng, 60 yuan a month. If you think that is suitable, you can start work the day after tomorrow. Upon hearing this, Gooden's grandparents both stood up in excitement. 60 yuan a month. Even a steady job in the city wouldn't have such a high salary. Han Xiaoqin excitedly said, perfect. It's just perfect. Yang, Auntie doesn't know how to thank you. Young said, you don't have to be like this. It's the same no matter who I hire. So it's settled then, Auntie. I need to go to Xiaowa's house next to discuss this matter with Xiaowa's mom. Gooden's grandparents as well as his parents all escorted Young out of their home together. Watching Young walk away, Gooden's grandma sighed. Yang is such a thoughtful girl. All of you children should learn from Yang. Even when you become successful in the future, you must never forget this kindness. The children all nodded their heads. If it were any other day, they'd definitely be unwilling to listen. But they had no choice but to listen today. After all, it was Young they were talking about. In all of Jinghua village, where could you find another person like Young? After leaving Gooden's house, Young visited Xiaowa's house, and without a doubt, she received the best treatment in the entire village. When she came back, Xiaowa's grandma insisted on giving Young a large bottle of fresh milk. Fearing that Young might refuse, Xiaowa's mom, Wang Tsuaping, accompanied Young all the way to the NIS house. Upon reaching the courtyard, Wang Tsuaping placed the bottle of milk on the ground and left. She knew that if she didn't leave, Young would definitely stuff a bunch of return gifts to her. Young called out watching Wang Kuiping's retreating figure. Aunt Tsuaping, be careful on the road. Wang Tsuaping replied with a laugh. Don't worry, I know the roads in the village like the back of my hand. I could find my way home even with my eyes closed. After she got home, Young made a spicy hot pot base, poured freshly made bone soup into a copper pot, sprinkled some scallions and cilantro on it to complete her red oil soup. As she brought the copper pot to the table, Tsuehua brought the prepared ingredients to the table. There were fresh vegetables, beef and mutton, shrimp paste, duck's blood, enoki mushrooms, catfish and so on. Because Chingue and Tsuehua could drink, Young also warmed 2 bottles of ginger rice wine. While a heavy snow fell outside, the 3 of them sat in the house enjoying the hot pot. The ambience was extremely warm and cozy. Because the milk tea shop was about to open, Young did some promotion in the noodle restaurant the next day. The next day the milk tea shop next door officially opened. Because it had snowed the night before, Young went early to clear the snow in front of the shop. As she parked, a tall figure emerged from the side. Yang. and I Young was taken aback. Brother Mo? It was just after 3 in the morning, and I Young was surprised to see Mo Chishan there. Mo Chishan smiled and said, I knew about your opening today, so my mom asked me to come over and wish you well, and help out. And I Young asked, Brother Mo, how did you know my milk tea shop is opening today? Mo Chishan mysteriously said, Do you think it's hard to know this? It really wasn't difficult to know, as she had promoted it in the noodle restaurant just yesterday. Mo Chishan added, Let's not stand here like fools, let's go in. All right. And I Young led Mo Chishan into the shop. Mo Chishan was someone who knew how to take initiative. He found a broom straight away. Men are supposed to do the outside work, while women handle the inside. Yang, you just take care of the tasks inside. I'll clear the outside snow. Finished speaking, he didn't give I Young a chance to refuse and carried the broom outside. There was indeed a lot to do on the first day of opening, so I Young didn't stand on ceremony. When I Young finished her tasks inside and came out, she found that Mo Chishan had not only cleared all the snow but also built 2 huge snowmen. I Young said in surprise, Brother Mo, you're pretty quick. Mo Chishan casually replied, What's a bit of work for a man? It's nothing. Marcus and Morris, who were sitting in the car, silently took credit for the work. It was all worth it as long as the boss was happy. Chapter 257. Mysterious Boss Tricks Zheng Xianjing, rescuing Boss NI_1. At this point, the snow outside had stopped. Mo Chishan somehow found 2 large red scarves to put on the snowmen. These 2 snowmen, standing at the entrance of the milk tea shop, were attracting a lot of attention as if they were welcoming guests. I Young touched one snowman, then the other, exclaiming, Brother Mo, you're amazing. I Young had hands that could heal and cook delicious dishes, could make all kinds of skincare products, but when it came to building snowmen, she was the kind of person who would fail as soon as she tried, despite knowing how to theoretically. If she were tasked with building such a large snowman, she wouldn't be able to do a good job even given a whole day. Mentioning this, Mo Chishan modestly touched his nose tip, replying, It's okay, just okay. I Young went on to say, Brother Mo, I made breakfast, come eat with me. It was only a little past 4 o'clock, and she knew Mo Chishan hadn't eaten yet. So during the lull in her cleanup, she made some breakfast. When Mo Chishan heard there was food, his eyes lit up, replying, Great. The 2 then entered the noodle restaurant. I Young placed the cooked breakfast on the table. Steamy milk tea, a couple of sunny-side-up eggs, and a bowl of fragrant sour fish noodles. The surface of the noodles was evenly covered with a thin layer of sour fish, making it a mouth-watering, delectable dish. As Mo Chishan sat down for breakfast, he asked, Yang, aren't you eating? I Young took a sip of her milk tea, replying, I've already eaten at home. A cup of milk tea is enough for me. Mo Chishan ate his meal slowly but with grace. Even when eating noodles, not a single sound could be heard. He was quiet and elegant. I Young just sat across from him, drinking her milk tea and chatting with him. Soon, Mo Chishan finished his bowl of noodles, saying, Yang, I'm done. Brother Mo. I Young suddenly stood up, Don't move. What's wrong? Mo Chishan was taken aback. I Young leaned closer to him. The light from the window seemed to drape her in a soft glow, making her seem radiant and surreal. Mo Chishan blanked out, his heart beating erratically, with the only sound he could focus on being the pounding of his own heartbeat. In between his breaths, he could feel a warm breath. The air seemed to hold a mysterious tension. Mo Chishan was too stunned to move. He even held his breath in fear. The next second, I Young reached out her hand. The cooling feeling of her fingertips lightly brushed against Mo Chishan's lips. You have a piece of spring onion here. A piece of spring onion. He couldn't believe that she'd got his heart fluttering so much, just to remove a piece of spring onion. For a moment, he thought I Young was going to kiss him. Hopefully, the spring onion didn't ruin his image in her eyes. Mo Chishan's cheeks instantly turned pink as he stuttered. Thank you. You're welcome. I Young replied with a small smile. Mo Chishan followed I Young to the kitchen. Yang, let me help you make the milk tea. They busied themselves in the kitchen, and soon Zhou Qingshang, Wang Jinfeng, Han Xiaoqin, and Wang Cuiping arrived. Since it was Han Xiaoqin and Wang Kuiping's first day of work, and they were unfamiliar with many things, and Yang went to the milk tea shop to guide them. Mo Qishan, on the other hand, offered to stay and help at the noodle restaurant. In fact, he wanted to go to the milk tea shop with Yang, but he wanted to leave a good impression on her even more. At 6 o'clock in the morning, New York Milk Tea officially opened. This time, Mo Qishan, like before, had carpets and flower baskets delivered, which attracted quite the crowd. The milk tea was only 3 cents a cup and it tasted good. Plus, because it was the first day of operation, there was a buy one get one free promotion which led to a long queue forming. Even people who'd merely walked past and had never tried milk tea before couldn't help but stop and queue up for a cup. The milk tea was pre-made, and the tapioca pearls were also pre-cooked. This made serving each cup particularly fast. Even those in queue didn't have to wait for long. Only in one morning, Yang had sold over 2,000 cups. The business from the neighboring noodle restaurant was also booming. To celebrate the opening of the milk tea shop, Yang bought a roast duck from the roast duck store, 3 pounds of braised pork and some vegetables from the braised pork shop. She also made a large pot of sour fish noodles. They ate the meat with the noodles, and with 6 people at the table, they had a joyous meal. Mo Qishan didn't leave until nighttime when they closed for the day. Yang followed him out to send him off, saying, "Brother Mo, thank you so much for today." Chapter 258. Mysterious Boss Tricks Zheng Xianjing, Rescuing Boss NI_2. Mo Qishan was pushing his bicycle with one hand, while he couldn't help but ruffle her hair with the other. "No need to thank me." Seeing that Yang didn't show any signs of disgust, Mo Qishan, gathering up his courage, ruffled her hair again. Soft and fluffy, like a little kitten. Finally able to touch his wife's head, Mo Qishan narrowed his satisfied eyes. Arriving at the fork in the road, Mo Qishan stopped. Yang, I'll leave you here. Go back quickly, it's too dark, and it's dangerous for a girl like you. Yang nodded. Then Brother Mo, I'll go back first. Mo Qishan waved at her. Go ahead. Watching Yang's retreating figure, Mo Qishan took out a cigarette from his pocket and lit it slowly. The little girl is really capable. She'd been driving him crazy all over. A day without seeing her feels like madness. Nowadays, every passing minute without her feels the same way to him. After finishing a cigarette, Mo Qishan pushed his bicycle forward. Uncle Mo. A string of footsteps came from behind. Zheng Xianjing caught up with him quickly. Uncle Mo, it's such a coincidence to meet you here this late. In the dim night, his handsome features were enveloped in a layer of gentle mist, making him appear mysterious and distinguished, which nearly made Zheng Xianjing infatuated. Nowadays, men with good looks and status were becoming increasingly rare. She had to hold on to him tightly. Mo Qishan couldn't be bothered with her, not even giving a sideways glance to Zheng Xianjing. But Zheng Xianjing wasn't discouraged. She cooed. Uncle Mo, it's so dark now, it's not safe for me to be alone on the road. Could you give me a ride home? Surely at this late hour, Mo Qishan wouldn't have the heart to let her walk home alone. Soon he would be riding his bike with her. The scenario would definitely be as romantic as watching a movie. Just thinking about it, Zheng Xianjing felt extremely flattered. This is the famous Mr. Mog. Thankfully she had good vision. She hadn't overlooked him like Zhao Jingrong. No. Mo Qishan flatly refused, his tone slightly cold. Uncle Mo. Zheng Xianjing tugged at Mo Qishan's sleeve, starting to flirt. It's said that it's harder for a man to win a woman's heart than for a woman to win a man's. She firmly believed she would move Mo Qishan's heart. Let go of me. Mo Qishan swatted Zheng Xianjing's hand away, looking back at her. As a girl, don't you have any sense of shame? Making a scene in public, tugging and pulling at a man, what does that make you look like? Perhaps Mr. Mo had forgotten the actions of a certain young girl this morning. They were even more intimate than Zheng Xianjing's. Zheng Xianjing felt wronged, and her eyes began to tear up. She had always been treated like a princess. When was she ever scolded so bluntly? Moreover, the person who scolded her was the one she liked. One can only imagine how Zheng Xianjing felt at that moment. Could it be, in Mo Qishan's eyes, she was shameless? No, she couldn't let these few words make her give up on Mo Qishan. Feelings between men and women need time to develop. Tang Monk's journey to fetch the scriptures had to go through 81 trials. What was this little setback compared to that? Uncle Mo. Zhang Xianjing quickened her pace to catch up. Uncle Mo, I love you. I don't care that you have nothing right now, and I don't care about your middle school education. I love you for who you are. No matter what happens in the future, I will always love you. She was different from Zhao Jingrong. Zhao Jingrong despised Mo Qixin for being an unsuccessful loser, but she accepted him. She believed she could move Mo Qixin with her sincerity and love. After all, girls who don't care about money were rare these days. At that, Mo Qixin turned to look at Zhang Xianjing, slowly spoke, "But I despise you." Here, he looked Zhang Xianjing up and down, enunciating each word. For being too ugly. Too ugly. He actually said she was ugly. All her life, Zhang Xianjing's greatest pride was her face. She had a classic oval face, almond eyes, cherry lips. Wherever she went, everyone complimented her beauty. And her place as the school beauty had never been contested. The queue of boys chasing her could stretch down a street. After he finished speaking, Mo Qixin hopped on his bike and left without looking back. He moved quickly, and it wasn't long before his figure was out of sight. Zhang Xianjing stood behind, her eyes crimson with fury. She couldn't hold back her tears and started crying out loud. All of this was that bitch Ni Yang's fault. Chapter 259. Mysterious Boss Tricks Zhang Xianjing, Rescuing Boss Ni_3. If it weren't for Ni Yang's interference, Mo Qixin would surely not have found her unattractive. She will not let off Ni Yang, the little bitch, who dares to compete for a man. As the Mo family's villa appeared close by, the riding speed of Mo Qixin slowly decreased. A black luxury car gradually stopped beside him. Marcus and Morris stepped out of it. Mo Qixin took out a cigarette from his pocket, lit it up and said with a murmuring smile, "Investigate Zhang Xianjing's whereabouts in the recent days." Marcus and Morris nodded respectfully. Mo Qixin flicked the ash of his cigarette and continued, "Don't hover around here in the next few days. Okay, go back now. If there is a problem, just contact me by phone." "Yes, Mr. Mog." Mo Qixin barely lifted his eyes. Marcus and Morris trembled with fright and promptly corrected themselves. "Yes, sir." Without saying much, Mo Qixin turned and walked toward the main entrance of the villa. The next day, Zhang Xianjing went shopping at the department store with her girlfriends. From a distance, she saw Mo Qixin standing there with Mr. Mog's assistants, Morris and Marcus. Zhang Xianjing was thrilled. She knew she was not mistaken that day. Mo Qixin and Mr. Mog were the same person. To avoid her girlfriends discovering this secret, Zhang Xianjing, under some pretext, sent them off. She, on the other hand, walked quietly toward Mo Qixin. As she got closer, she could hear their conversation clearly. "Mr. Morris, Mr. Marcus, please let me meet Mr. Mog." Marcus scoffed. "Who do you think you are? Can you meet our Mr. Mog whenever you want?" Morris said, "Mr. Mo, I'm sorry, Mr. Mog does not meet any visitors. There is nothing we can do if he doesn't want to see you." Mo Qixin continued, "Mr. Mog sent a birthday gift to my mother last time. Did you tell him who I am?" Hearing this, Zhang Xianjing was completely stunned. Her eyes widened. She thought she would hear some business secrets. Unexpectedly, this was what she heard. Mo Qixin was really not Mr. Mog. This was just her wishful thinking. How could this be? Last time, she clearly saw Marcus and Morris treating Mo Qixin with reverence. Did she misinterpret? Zhang Xianjing tried hard to recall that scene. Thinking back now, she seemed to overthink because she did not clearly see Mr. Mog. She just saw an ambiguous side face. She just thought the side face looked like Mo Qixin. In fact, it was not Mo Qixin at all, it just looked like him. Yes. How could a good-for-nothing like Mo Qixin be the famous Mr. Mog? She must have been blind before. No wonder Zhao Jingrong is so determined to divorce Mo Qixin. Zhang Xianjing bit her lip tightly, wishing she could kill her foolish self from the past with a slap. So foolish. She was really foolish. If Mo Qixin is not Mr. Mog, then who is he? As Mr. Mog took the initiative to send a birthday gift to Madame Mo, he must have some connection with the Mo family. Recalling the fuzzy-side face, Zhang Xianjing thought of Mo Baichuan's face. In fact, that person looked a little like Mo Baichuan. She was too confused at that time, and thought of Mo Qishan first. Thinking about it now, Mo Baichuan seemed more likely to be Mr. Mog. Could it be Mo Baichuan? Zhang Xianjing squinted her eyes. Over by the column, Mo Qishan was still shamelessly pestering Monis and Morris. Marcus pushed Mo Qishan out. Go away, or Mr. Mog will not see you. Mo Qishan angrily said. Don't despise me because I am poor. Times change. Just wait. With that he strode away. Waste. Mo Qishan is a waste. If it were Mo Baichuan, Marcus would definitely not dare to push him. When Zhang Xianjing looked at Mo Qishan again, she was full of contempt, and she left the place with a furious expression. Looking at Mo Qishan's retreating figure, Marcus trembled with fear. Oh God! He actually pushed the boss. Morris thumped Marcus' shoulder, adding fuel to the fire. You not only pushed Mr. Mog, but you also called him a nobody. Marcus nervously swallowed. I was just assisting Mr. Mog. There should be no problem, right? Mr. Mog shouldn't be so petty, right? Chapter 260. Mysterious Boss Tricks Zhang Xianjing, Rescuing Boss NI_4. If Mr. Mog was to hold grudges, then he's a goner. Why was he subjected to such a vile role? Life is already so challenging. Why does he have to face such torments? Morris shrugged his shoulders. Whether Mr. Mog will blame you or not depends on the performance. If the audience believes it or not. Marcus looked around and asked, where is the audience? Morris gave a mysterious smile. Marcus continued, why would Mr. Mog have us perform this play out of the blue? Morris replied, if I could guess what on Mr. Mog's mind, wouldn't I essentially become Mr. Mog? Marcus scratched his head, looking puzzled. When Zhang Xianjing once again came to her little sisters, her face was as white as paper. One of the sisters worriedly asked, Xianjing, are you okay? Zhang Xianjing managed a faint smile. I'm fine, just feeling a bit sick. Maybe we should head back? Go back? Aren't we going to the noodle restaurant? Zhang Xianjing originally planned to bring her sisters to give Yang a piece of her mind at her noodle restaurant today. After this incident, how could Zhang Xianjing still be in the mood to pick a fight with Yang? She needs to find out who the real Mr. Mog is as soon as possible. She wants to become a truly superior person. Zhang Xianjing continued, let's not. She's just a commoner, not worth my time. Oh, well, just go back then. The sisters ushered Zhang Xianjing towards the exit. Just by coincidence, as they reached the entrance of the mall, they saw Mo Qishan walking out. Usually, Zhang Xianjing would follow Mo Qishan regardless of anything. But not today. Such a loser, he's not worthy of her. Bemoaning her past blindness. Thinking about how Mo Qishan had ruthlessly humiliated her last night, Zhang Xianjing felt anger rise within. What right does this loser have to insult her? Thinking thus, Zhang Xianjing lifted her chin high, walking past Mo Qishan with a haughty demeanor. From now on, she would make him realize that they are from two different worlds. The future her is someone beyond his reach. Regardless of Zhang Xianjing's actions, Mo Qishan didn't spare her a second glance. He calmly headed in the opposite direction. If you look closely, you could see a hint of mockery hidden deep within his eyes. Once Mo Qishan left, the sisters near Zhang Xianjing started discussing in low voices. That man just now, he's handsome. Even more so than the pretty boys on television. Yeah, absolutely. If only my boyfriend was that attractive. I'm not asking for much, half of his looks would do. Zhang Xianjing responded coldly to their chatter. Attractive? Can you eat attractiveness? Looks certainly can't feed you, which is why they are trying to ingratiate themselves with Zhang Xianjing, hoping she can introduce them to a higher quality social circle. Men die for wealth, birds die for food. Who doesn't want to be a part of the elite circle? As days passed, with the end of the year drawing near, Yang began preparing for the New Year purchases. At noon that day, Yang rode her bicycle to the station to pick up Cuihua, to go shopping for the New Year together. This was Cuihua's first visit since the renovation of the milk tea shop and noodle restaurant. Standing in front of the two shops, Cuihua's face was filled with disbelief. Everything felt so unreal, like a dream. Yang Yang. Anai Tsuehua held Anai Yang's hand tightly, her eyes filled with tears. Is this really our shop? Yes. Anai Yang nodded. Anai Tsuehua just stared at the two connected shops, silent for a long time. She was genuinely happy. It was not easy for Anai Yang to have achieved what she has. Mum, let's go inside, it's cold outside, said Anai Yang. Holding little Anai Yun in one hand and leading Anai Tsuehua with the other. Mum, let's be careful, Aunt Jinfeng and the others are inside resting. Okay. Anai Tsuehua nodded. Once inside the shop, Anai Yang made Anai Tsuehua a cup of milk tea. After showing Anai Tsuehua around the shop, the two women, along with little Anai Yun, left to make their New Year purchases. As they walked out, the owner of the neighboring shop asked with a smile, Yang Yang, is this your mom? Anai Yang nodded. Yes, Auntie Feng, this is my mum, and this is my sister. Anai Tsuehua, no longer as humble as when she first arrived in the city, greeted naturally, hello. Chapter 261. Mysterious Boss Tricks Zheng Xianjing, Rescuing Boss Anai_5. Feng Yu also laughed and greeted Anai Tsuehua. Big sister, you've really raised a good daughter. I've never seen a girl as capable as Yang Yang. She's only 17 but already the boss of 2 shops. If it wasn't witnessed firsthand, who would believe it? After Anai Yang walked away with Anai Tsuehua, the nearby business owners all came out to gossip with Feng Yu. Was that woman just now Yang Yang's mother? Yes. Feng Yu nodded. No wonder Yang Yang is so good-looking, her mother isn't bad either. Yang Yang is 17 today, her mother must be at least 34, right? She looks like she's in her 20s. Exactly, why are they both so pretty? Look at my skin, compared to theirs, I'm like an old cucumber skin. Another chimed in. If your skin isn't good, I recommend you to use a skincare product. A relative of ours is using it. She's been using it for half a month, and her skin is as smooth as if she changed a layer. Really? What's the brand? It seems to be called Ice Crystal Jade Skin. You mean Ice Crystal Jade Skin? I know that brand too. I'm using their facial cleanser and aloe vera gel now, but the whitening moisturizer seems a bit hard to get. I've tried to buy it 3 times and haven't got it. I know that brand too. One bought a bottle of the whitening moisturizer. The effect is indeed very good, just that the price is a bit expensive, equivalent to a month's rent. As long as it works, it doesn't matter if it's expensive. We women have only one face in our life. The problem is the stock is too tight. I can't buy it at all. The women chatted about Anai Yang to skincare products, and then to their own lovers, children. Anai Yang took Anai Tsuehua to the market. Because the new year was coming, all the streets were filled with vendors selling couplets, firecrackers and various foods. It was extremely lively. It was different from the future, where due to environmental pollution, all kinds of fireworks are strictly prohibited. In this era, fireworks and firecrackers could be set off at will. But because they weren't cheap, not many people bought them. People at most bought a string of firecrackers to set off, just to make things a little festive. As for those who bought sparklers and fireworks were from wealthy families. Anai Yang picked 2 strings of firecrackers, and then a big bunch of sparklers and a big firework. Boss, how much are these? The stall owner, while calling to other customers, said, Young girl, these add up to 15 yuan. 15 yuan could be equivalent to half a month's wage for a worker. Anai Tsuehua, who was accustomed to a frugal life, couldn't help but counsel, Yang Yang, we actually don't need that much. Anai Yang smiled and said, The new year comes only once a year, let's make it festive. After saying that, she took out 15 yuan and gave it to the boss. Ordinary people who buy such expensive items would at least haggle over the price, but the stall owner didn't expect Anai Yang to be so generous. She didn't bargain and directly bought it. This made the stall owner take a second look at Anai Yang. With this second look, oh my, this young girl is also too good-looking. The stall owner was secretly surprised. After buying the firecrackers and fireworks, Anai Yang took Anai Tsuehua to the food section. Since it was the new year, nuts and sunflower seeds were a must. But in this era, you couldn't find premium nuts like Hawaiian nuts, pistachios, almonds at ordinary markets. What you saw were peanuts, fried rice candy, fried dough twists, sunflower seeds, fried broad beans, and other common snacks. Then there were all kinds of candies. Xiaolong candy, lard candy, and all kinds of fruit candies. Because there were many children in the village, Yang bought more candies and cookies. She also bought a few pounds of sunflower seeds, peanuts, broad beans, and other roasted snacks. After buying these things, Yang shared her plan to buy some jewelry for Chenggui with Tsuehua. Tsuehua nodded in approval. That's fine, your Aunt is a good person, we should buy her something nice. With that said, the mother and daughter, carrying bags of goods, arrived at the jewelry shop. The salespeople in the jewelry shop were all sharp-eyed. They saw that Tsuehua and her daughter were well-dressed and pretty. Immediately, they enthusiastically greeted and helped them carry their bags, sweet-talking Tsuehua into a happy mood. Yang chose a necklace, a pair of earrings and a gold ring for Chenggui. These were the 3 pieces of gold that people in this era could only dream of. Chapter 262. Mysterious Boss Tricks Zheng Xianjing, Rescuing Boss Ni_6. After some thought, Yang picked out a similar one for Tsuehua. Tsuehua had led a tough life in her earlier years. Yang wanted her later years to be a little sweeter. Tsuehua immediately said, "Don't waste your money, child, I don't need this. I really don't need it." Yang laughed and replied, "Mom, it's not that much money. Don't worry. Besides, gold can appreciate in value." The salesperson quickly gathered up the jewelry. "Aunt, this is your daughter's show of filial piety. Please take them. It's hard to find such a good daughter these days, even with a lantern." A wide smile spread across Quihua's face. Indeed, it would be difficult to find a good daughter like Yang, even with a lantern. She must have saved up good karma in her past life to have such a wonderful daughter in this life. The total cost of the jewelry came to 3,000 yuan. While it was nothing to Yang, but for Tsuehua, it was a fortune. After all, she had never even seen 30 yuan in the past. Once they finished their shopping, the mother and daughter, carrying their purchases, headed in the direction of the noodle restaurant. Although it was already afternoon, the streets were still crowded with people, old and young, all crammed together. They rarely set foot outside even once a year, only taking the chance to explore during the holidays. Curiosity was irresistible. A small girl stood in the middle of the road, staring blankly at a candied hawthorn vendor, oblivious to the honking horn. A car was about to run into the little girl. A figure darted over, scooping her up and rolling out of the way at lightning speed. Screech! The sound of emergency brakes being activated echoed, missing the little girl by a whisker. If that person had moved even slightly slower, the consequences would be unimaginable. Wah! The little girl immediately burst into tears out of fright. Yang stood up holding the little girl, dusting off her clothes, and gently comforting her. "It's okay now, it's okay." Catching sight of Yang from the back seat of the car, a clear view of her profile can be seen. It's the same girl again. A hint of a smile surfaced in the man sitting in the back seat. He stopped the driver from getting out of the car. "I'll go myself." "Chairman." The driver was taken aback. The man was already getting out of the car. "I'm sorry, are you two alright?" The man walked over to Yang. "I'm fine." Yang shook her head. "The little girl might be a bit frightened though." The man continued, "Young lady, we really should thank you. If it weren't for you, we might be facing a lawsuit. My name is Shengguansu. Here is my business card." If he hadn't witnessed it himself, he wouldn't have believed that a young girl could have shown such courage in the face of danger. In such situations, many people wouldn't risk themselves to save a child, even if they are sure they could. Everyone values their own life. Yang took the card. Her tone was light. "Please drive more carefully in the future. It's already the end of the year, and nobody wants accidents." Turning her attention to the still sobbing little girl, she spoke softly, "Little girl, you can't stand in the middle of the road lost in thought, okay? It was very dangerous today. Remember, you only have one life." At her words, Shengguansu was slightly taken aback. He had expected Yang to solely blame him and push all the responsibility onto him, since he was the one who started this. Surprisingly, Yang was teaching the little girl some lessons. It seemed she was not as he had imagined. Moreover, she didn't react particularly when she saw the business card. She was so calm, not like a young girl, but more like someone who had seen the world. The little girl was terrified, covering her eyes and sobbing softly. And Young continued, "Stop crying now. How about I buy you a candied hawthorn stick? Would you like that?" Upon hearing the words candied hawthorn, the little girl instantly stopped crying, removing her hands from her eyes. Really? And Young nodded. "Of course it's true. But you have to promise me not to daydream in the middle of the road." "Okay, big sister, I promise you." The little girl blinked her eyes and then said, "Wow, big sister, you are so pretty." And Young smiled gently, leading the little girl over to buy 2 sticks of candied hawthorn. With a candied hawthorn stick in hand, the little girl had a satisfied smile on her face. Shang Guansu followed over. And Young raised an eyebrow slightly. "Is there something else, Mr. Shangguan?" Chapter 263. Mysterious Boss Tricks Zhang Xianjing, Rescuing Boss NI_7 Continuing, Shangguan Su said. "You did a favor for me, little girl, for which I haven't properly thanked you. There's a restaurant up ahead. How about we talk over a meal?" "No need." And Young declined gracefully. "It was a mere trifle, Mr. Shangguan, don't give it another thought." And Young didn't save people for rewards or for someone's gratitude. She just couldn't stand by and watch a vibrant life disappear before her eyes. In her second life, she not only cherished her own life, but the lives of others as well. But, as Shangguan Su tried to say something more, and Young cut him off. "If you truly feel bad about it, Mr. Shangguan, why don't you take this little friend home? It's quite unsafe for her to be here alone with cars coming and going." "Beautiful sister, I have a name. I'm called Xiaoxue," said the little girl, looking up at Young. "Xiaoxue, would you like Big Brother to take you home?" Shangguan Su stretched his hand out to Xiaoxue. Xiaoxue slowly walked over, cautiously saying, "There are many human traffickers nowadays. Big Brother, you're not a bad person, right?" And Young replied, "Rest assured, Xiaoxue, this Big Brother is not a bad person." With her extensive experience, Young could easily discern good from bad. If not, she wouldn't have so readily handed Xiaoxue over to him. As for Shangguan Su, he gave Young a thoughtful look. Xiaoxue nodded. "Since beautiful sister said so, then I will go home with you." Shangguan Su let out a soft laugh. As they were leaving, Xiaoxue politely said goodbye to Young. After walking a few steps, Shangguan Su turned back to look at Young. "Little miss, may I ask your name?" "Young," she replied with a light tone. "And I of the character pound. The Young of I_FFIFIBG_W Young." As expected, both the woman and her name were beautiful. It definitely surpassed the common names like Chunhua and Qiuyue. Shangguan Su nodded before leading Xiaoxue towards his car. Young approached Tsuehua asking, "Mom, have you finished your shopping?" Tsuehua was currently buying cured goods and hadn't noticed the previous events. "I bought some cured chicken and fish. Do you see anything else we should get?" Young looked at the cured goods stand. "Why don't we get more smoked meat?" Tsuehua nodded. "All right, vendor, please cut us 5 pounds of smoked meat." By the time they finished purchasing the cured goods and returned to the noodle restaurant, it was already past 4 in the afternoon. The restaurant had already started doing business, and it was packed inside, with a long line outside to boot. While little Yin was sleeping, Tsuehua also helped to cook the noodles and prepare the milk tea. Yang, on the other hand, was busy out front. Even though Tsuehua had always known that the noodle restaurant and milk tea shop were doing well, she hadn't realized it was to this extent. She had been there for almost an hour, and the line of people hadn't decreased at all. Despite being busy and tired, she felt happiness in her heart. At 7:30 in the evening, Yang closed up shop promptly. Today was payday. Yang had the envelopes ready and handed them out to everyone. "Aunt Zhou, Aunt Jinfang, Aunt Suaping, Aunt Xiaoqin, this is your monthly salary." Wang Jinfang looked at the money in the envelope. "Wait, Yang, why is there an extra 60 yuan? The monthly salary was 60 yuan, but Yang had given 120. Hearing this, the others also checked their envelopes and found an extra 60 yuan. Yang explained with a smile. The new year is coming soon. This is your red envelope. Anai Yang was a good boss. She never mistreated her employees. Hearing this, the four of them all declined. The wages Anai Yang paid were already high. How could they accept her red envelope? Anai Yang continued. Aunties, please accept it. It's a tradition to give red envelopes for good luck during the new year. If you don't accept it, it means you're looking down on the amount. No. We're not looking down on the amount. Anai Yang interjected. If that's the case, just accept it. I'll need you to put more effort into managing these two shops in the future. After the new year, Anai Yang planned to further expand her business, so she wouldn't have as much time to devote to these two shops. Zhou Qingshang said with a smile. Anai Yang, what are you talking about? It's perfectly natural for us to work since you're paying us. Han Xiaoqin and Wang Cuiping added. Yes, that's right. We're supposed to do this. Anai Yang, you don't need to be so formal with us. Anai Yang continued. Anyway, thank you for your hard work, aunties. Also, with the new year approaching, I've decided that we'll work till the 29th of the last lunar month and resume work on the 8th of the lunar new year. During these 7 days of rest, wages will still be paid normally. She wasn't a stingy boss. She was aware that her employees needed properly arranged resting periods. Moreover, the new year held great significance for Chinese people. If they had to work even during the new year, she would be an awful boss. She wasn't chasing after endless money and didn't care about a few days. Hearing this, the four of them were stunned. They didn't expect Anai Yang not only to give them red packets but also to give them a new year break. Anai Yang, Wang Jinfang said. Actually, you don't have to give us so many days off. Your business is so good, it would be a pity to close for so many days. The other three nodded. With the high salary Anai Yang gave, even if they didn't get a single day off, none of them would have any complaints. The two shops could earn 2,000 to 3,000 yuan a day. After 7 or 8 days of rest, that could amount to tens of thousands of yuan. Anai Yang explained with a smile. That's all right. Actually, during the New Year period, most people will be busy with their own affairs, and there won't be many who will be dining out. Besides, you've been working hard for so long, it's time you took a break. Also, after the new year, I plan to hire a few more people from our village to help out and implement a rotation system for rest days, where everyone can have a day off every week. Chapter 264. Principle-based boss and I, targeting Li Xiangxian's Zhang Xianjinji. One should be content and not be greedy. Hearing this, all four of them refused. We don't need a break, Yang. We're not tired at all. Indeed, this job is much more relaxed than working in the fields. I've gained quite a bit of weight since I started working here. Me too, I've put on weight. Working at the noodle restaurant only requires washing dishes and cooking noodles, without need to endure scorching sun or drenching rain. They had not only gained weight, but also their skin had become much fairer. Previously, when working at home all year round, doing dirty and tiring farming work, they barely made any money. In a single month working at Anai Yang's, they earned as much as they did in a whole year at home. The four of them were genuinely grateful to Anai Yang. Anai Yang said with a smile. How can you not rest? Work and relaxation should go hand in hand. Let's follow this plan next year. Yang, we really don't need to rest. Yes, we really don't need to rest. Still, the four of them insisted on refusing. Anai Yang continued. Ladies, there's no need for you to refuse. You're not made of iron. How can you not rest? Plus, you all have elderlies and little ones at home. Use the break time to take care of your family. Hearing this, the four of them didn't know what to say. Anai Yang not only offered them the best treatment, gave them red envelopes and year-end holiday during Chinese New Year, but now she was also giving them 4 days off a month. They must work hard and not let Anai Yang down. After taking care of this matter, Anai Yang started to lock the door and leave. There were quite a lot of New Year goods purchased today, and the back seat couldn't fit anyone, so Anai Cuihua took the tram home with her child. At around 7 o'clock in the evening, the night temperature was very low. All the passengers on the tram were bundled up tightly, and a thick layer of ice had formed on the steps of the tram. Anai Cuihua, holding her child, didn't notice it, and her foot stepped on the ice surface, causing her and her child to lurch forward due to the sudden force. As she was about to fall to the ground, someone caught her just in the nick of time. "Comrade, are you okay?" A thick, kind voice sounded above Enai Quihua's head. Enai Tsuehua was so scared that her heart raced. Looking up, she saw a man about 30 to 40 years old, with a square face, tall and thin figure, a typical intellectual, wearing a pair of black-rimmed glasses, and emanating an elegant demeanor. They were standing a bit too close, and Enai Tsuehua didn't want to cause any misunderstanding. She hurriedly took a step back while holding her child, repeatedly bowing in gratitude. "I'm fine, thank you. Thank you." If it hadn't been for this middle-aged man acting swiftly, the consequences would have been unimaginable. Enai Tsuehua felt a chill run down her spine. The middle-aged man casually adjusted his glasses. "It was the least I could do. You don't need to be so polite. Is the child okay?" Little Enai Yin seemed to understand the middle-aged man's words. He didn't look scared at all, and even looked up and smiled at him, babbling as if he wanted to talk. The 6-month-old baby was plump and fair, with clear and bright eyes, a clean face without a trace of dribble or snot, looking as lovely as the babies in New Year paintings. In this era, families usually had 5 or 6 or even more children, and there was no time for parents to take care of them since they were busy working. Therefore, elder children were usually the ones taking care of the younger ones. It was rare to see anyone take such good care of their child. The middle-aged man couldn't help but take another look at little Enai Yun, then finally looked closely at Enai Tsuehua. No wonder she could raise such a lovely child. She was no ordinary person. Talking with a strange man for the first time, Enai Tsuehua was a bit apprehensive. "My child is fine too, thanks to you just now." The middle-aged man continued. "The roads are slippery in the snow. You should be careful when carrying a child." "You're right." Enai Tsuehua nodded nervously. Without saying much else, the middle-aged man returned to his seat and continued reading the newspaper. Enai Tsuehua also found an empty seat and sat down. The tram slowly started moving. Along the way, people kept getting on and off the tram. When Enai Tsuehua looked up again, the middle-aged man who had helped her was no longer on the tram. Such a kind man he was, Enai Tsuehua thought. Outside the tram, a black bicycle slowly passed by. Chapter 265. Principle-based boss Enai, targeting Li Xiangxian's Zhang Xianjing _2. If Enai Tsuehua were to look down, she would definitely see that the middle-aged man who just left is now sitting in the back seat of the car, conversing with a young man. And if Enai Yen were there, she would definitely notice that the young man is Shangguan Su. The car was much faster than a bicycle, so Enai Tsuehua arrived home before Enai Yen. It wasn't until Enai Tsuehua had put the kids to bed that Enai Yen arrived home by bike. Enai Tsuehua quickly helped Enai Yen unload the goods and wash the vegetables. That evening, Enai Yen planned to cook some preserved pork with steamed rice, accompanied by a few beauty-enhancing dishes. At dinner time, Enai Yen gave Enai Qinggui the 30 boxes of whitening moisturizer she had just finished making. "Auntie Enai, this is the whitening moisturizer ordered by the mysterious customer last time. Could you please deliver them to her?" "Okay," Enai Qinggui replied, cheerfully accepting them. Enai Yen then picked up a small round box and handed it to Enai Qinggui. "Oh Auntie Enai, I've recently developed a new anti-wrinkle cream. You can take it and see how it works." "Anti-wrinkle?" Enai Qinggui's eyes lit up. "Can it remove wrinkles?" Aging and wrinkles are a woman's worst enemies. Hearing about an anti-wrinkle cream, how could Enai Qinggui not be excited? Enai Yen nodded. "Yes." Enai Qinggui laughed. Yang, you are amazing." She was truly lucky to have met Enai Yen on the train. Enai Yen smiled faintly. "Auntie Enai, don't rush to praise me yet. We still don't know if it's effective." This anti-wrinkle cream was also something Enai Yen had just developed. The products she newly develops are not immediately sold, but are first given to the people around her, to Lin Pingping, to Wang Meifeng. Now that the brand Skin as Ice and Jade is well established, they don't know how many people envy Enai Qinggui, Wang Meifeng, and Lin Pingping for getting to use the products that others can't buy. This is also a way of winning hearts. After all, Enai Yen is a businesswoman. She never makes unprofitable investments. Enai Qinggui said. Yang Yang, can anything you research ever be bad? Auntie guarantees this anti-wrinkle cream will certainly be good. It will be another bestseller. Anai Yin laughed. Then I hope your good words come true. The next day, Anai Chungue brought the 30 boxes of whitening moisturizer to the company, handed them to her colleagues and blurted out, Xiaolan, who the heck is this person who ordered 30 boxes of whitening moisturizer from you? They are really wealthy, aren't they? Although it had been many days since the incident, Anai Chungue still couldn't help her surprise. One should know that's 24,000 yuan. Jialan said, I'm not exactly sure who she is either. All I know is that she's my daughter's classmate. One heard her family is very wealthy. She has a boyfriend who is a high-ranking leader. She lives in a mansion, and 20,000 yuan to her is like 2 yuan to us. In the eyes of ordinary people, 20,000 yuan is a huge amount of money, but to the rich, 20,000 yuan is simply insignificant. Oh, one Anai Chungue nodded, sighing. It is good to be rich. Jialan continued. By the way, has Skin as Ice and Jade come out with any new products recently? Loving beauty is every woman's nature. Skin as Ice and Jade has great effects, so everyone is looking forward to new products every day. Now new products hardly need any promotion. As soon as they're released, they're immediately sold out. Anai Chungue gave a mysterious smile. You guess. Seeing her like this, Jialan could already guess, lowered her voice and said, What product is it? Let me know. One promise I won't tell anyone else. Anai Chungue whispered, This time it's an anti-wrinkle cream. It should be available for purchase in a few days. But I estimate the price is likely to be around the same as the whitening moisturizer. Upon hearing it was an anti-wrinkle cream, Jialan's eyes immediately lit up. She quickly responded, I don't mind the price as long as it works. Look at these crow's feet of mine. They are unbearable to look at. Chungue, we have such a good relationship. You must save a box for me. It seemed like Anai Chungue suddenly remembered something and asked, By the way, Xiaolan, your husband teaches at our city's high school, right? Yes, Jialan nodded. Anai Chungue laughed. What grade does he teach? Although Jialan was somewhat puzzled, she still answered, This year he's teaching 10th grade. Next year he'll be teaching 11th grade. 11th grade, excellent. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Sword of Destiny YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.